Hello, I am Daniel Bloodworth. We are Easy Allies, and this is the Easy Allies podcast. This week, I'm joined by Michael Huber.
Kill the Justice League.
Michael Damiani.
How's it going, everybody?
In the control room, making it all happen, we've got Isla Hink.
Hi.
Dawn is back there, working on some fun stuff for next week. Gabby's keeping an eye on us. Somewhere in there.
She's
Somewhere.
back there, yeah.
Friends, we're here to talk about what's new, what's news, and what we've been playing. It is a stacked week.
What's new? What's news? I like that. That is freaking good.
Suicide Squad is out. Been putting some time into that. We've got a whole new state of play with lots of stuff to talk about there. Lots of great trailers and everything. We have our patrons' top 10 eating and drinking establishments in games. And Deus Ex is freaking canceled again. So that sucks. There's a lot to cover, so we're going to go straight into it. First up, Death Stranding 2 on the beach.
Whoa. Straight in.
Straight in.
Okay. Death Stranding 2.
Not wasting any time.
Like it.
Getting right into this.
Looks freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah, I rewatched this a couple of times today to get more infos. Try to sort out what the heck was going on with some of this stuff. But yeah, what are you guys thinking?
I mean, Kojima trailers are always really fun. I'm not a big fan of like trying to piece together mysteries because
Sure.
it just seems like so pointless. It's just like,
But just catching up on details. I didn't notice that like George Miller like didn't have a hand.
yeah.
Like, his hand is like chopped off, and he like attaches like a saw to it and like other
Yeah.
things. And it's like, okay.
I just think the world already looks more interesting. You know, like we saw when we first saw Death Stranding, it was like that tank scene, or, Guillermo del Toro running with like a baby in a jar. And I feel like this trailer showed us so many different places, showed us like this maybe like resistance group or something, like surviving in this world. So just a lot more world building, I'd say, in this.
Yeah, definitely.
And just like cool little devices, like Fragile's mask is so cool. It has like the, these hands that come up and like do different things.
Yeah,
like lights
they're
her
acting like a
cigarette.
mask, but they do all kinds of things.
Yeah. And like her little puppet obviously is like the best part of this whole thing. That puppet is amazing. But yeah, it looked really, really awesome. Looked very Kojima. But my number one takeaway was just all the different environments we were in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damiani, thoughts and what kind of stuff stands out to you?
The freaking baby spitting out a Metal Gear head. Like, what the heck? Like this, there's just so much that and freaking electric guitar as a weapon.
Oh,
like,
no.
Yes.
just a nod. Like, trying to like one up Fury Road right there. It's like, oh, you did it like a memorable thing. Like, I'm gonna do that. Obviously, Higgs is also his like Joker Higgs too. It's like,
Yeah.
Kojima is like, it's not that superficial.
Yeah.
It's Kojima. Like we had the laugh, but like we know there's gonna be some really ridiculous thing behind that story there, and that's not the end of it.
Like that guitar
But
has like impact on the world.
Yeah. Well, half the comments were bringing up
just
the
a
crow.
fight.
The crow is the thing that people are
Yeah,
latching
he
onto
looked a
now.
lot like the
Yeah.
Crow. Higgs.
There you go.
Also, people were saying that.
I mean, yeah.
Because we were commenting on them being black and white in the ship, and people were saying that when you're on the beach, you look black and white. So it's like, okay, is this ship on the beach then? Like,
Yeah, traveling. Because one thing I
Yeah.
noticed
They
too
must
is
travel
that
through
there is like the water lighting. Like
Yeah,
you're in the
yeah.
bottom of a pool kind of look to everything when they're in that scene, which is not in these other scenes when they're full color.
So it looks like, I think the ship can like go in and out of the beach, which is cool. Probably to travel between locations faster, maybe.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, you ever question if Kojima's ever losing his touch, and it's like he throws this like 10-minute trailer out, and it's like,
really good.
I know he gets like top billing, but man, this like I hate like there was a lot of good stuff in this state of play, but this just like eclipsed everything so easily. So I'm like, and I think it's like he's just a genius at giving you the little morsels that keep you talking about this forever. I he just has like the cool factor. Like it's the easiest thing. Like his trailers are like cool.
Yeah.
You talk about them, they're cool, they're stylish, but they're not like he is trying hard. It doesn't come off as try hard.
Right.
It's like people who try and mimic it, and it's just insane that
Effortlessly
he's
cool.
still capable of doing this. Yeah.
Well,
It's insane.
And that's the thing, though, is like there are things as insane as Higgs shooting lightning out of a guitar, fighting a samurai making baby noises, but it's just like it's just so out there, and yet all of this serious stuff that goes on in between there. Let me get through
Didn't even realize this like flooding.
Yeah, so
section.
this
It's
is something, Huber, that I noticed
dynamic
rewatching.
weather. Yeah.
There's a couple of things where they're like these dynamic events. So you see
Dude,
the
the
flood and then you
rock-
see the rock slide.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to that with
Definitely.
the gameplay because
100%.
with the flood, somebody had built a bridge there, but they built it kind of like in the river basin, and so the
Yeah.
flood just like wipes out that bridge.
Yeah.
If you had built it like just a few steps back, it would have been like usable after the flood happens. So it's interesting to think about how those things are going to work and all of this, strand mechanics and playing with other people and everything like that.
Yeah.
I love in this when it says was connecting a mistake, and I was like,
should we have connected? Yeah.
should we have connected? Strand gaming was a mistake, dude.
Oof.
Yeah. Some other things that kind of, some facts first, and then I'll get into some things that kind of stood out to me. So 2025 is where they slated this. PS5 exclusive. The cast that they've put in here so far: Norman Reedus, Lea Seydoux, Troy Baker,
Norman Reedus, baby.
Elle Fanning, Shioli Kutsuna, and George Miller, which we took a few minutes to recognize when we first watched it.
What is this like reanimation jutsu shit, dude?
But that's another reason they're calling it back to the Crow, because he's like
Yeah.
coming back to life, coming
Yeah.
back from the beach.
For sure.
Yoji Shinkawa will direct
course.
character and mechanical design, and then Ludwig Forsell and is back for music, and Kyle Cooper is back for the title designs.
I feel like the worst part about Death Stranding 1 for me was the combat. It's definitely not a combat-focused game, but it's still there, and it was definitely
Yeah.
the worst part of it. I'm hoping... I already feel like with the addition of these robots, combat will be better because, you're penalized kind of for killing people in the first one.
Right.
But I feel like now, they showed Sam like shooting the robot just with a gun, like unloading on it. So I wonder if you're able to actually kill them, because that would be a really cool way to have like guns blazing, use your guns on the robots, but then when you fight other humans or something,
You still have to be
then you can
careful,
go
non-lethal.
stealth
Yeah.
and avoid them and non-lethal. So that would encourage you to do both sides of it.
Yeah, and Higgs, makes that comment about like you traded in the rope for a stick,
Yeah.
talking about the gun, which clearly like from the design looks like a gun that like his team made, because he said like all of these robots and stuff are like his factory that he's been pumping these things out, but he does still have the rope hanging there,
Yeah.
so it's not gone.
Yeah.
But he's like, I think commenting is like you're going to be shooting more,
Yeah.
kind of like with the DLC, like there was more shooting in that and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the things,
Crazy.
we see at the beginning and then towards the end, the character that they kind of bring in from like, they call it chrysalis, and they like, saw it open and then they start wiping the tar off and everything.
Yeah.
I am pretty sure, having looked over that a little bit more closely,
Yeah,
that
Blood,
is
you've been sniffing this. You've
that's
been
Elle
obsessed with
Fanning's
this.
character
Got
that's
it.
in there.
He's been obsessed with
Yeah,
this.
he's obsessed
chat.
with this chat.
Well, first I thought it was Quali.
Margaret Qualley.
Yeah.
Andy
But-
McDowell's daughter.
But looking at her nose in particular, and then the other thing is when Elle Fanning comes out, she has this thing on her arm at the elbow, and that character, when it's like raising up, has the same thing on their arm. So I think it's just that because she's got all the tar over her hair looks like it's dyed black,
Got it.
that it's harder to recognize her. Plus the angle of her face, you're like looking at
Yeah.
it from below.
Yeah.
So
I love Norman Reedus so much. So
Holding
much.
the baby.
yeah.
I
Lou, man.
love that man.
That shot of Lou was so good.
Yeah.
Drawbridge is this international organization that Fragile's heading up that's outside of the UCA. She kind of is like explaining it to the audience as she's explaining it to Sam.
I mean, dude, I beat the first one and like,
It's-
we did the spoiler mode and I was like, yeah, I didn't understand shit. So, like,
It's like literally like Metal Gear Solid 1 to Solid 2, where he's like officially working for the government, official military organization or like government organization. And in Metal Gear 2, him and Otacon go independent with like a philanthropy group and do their own thing on the side. It's like
Philanthropists.
there's some cool parallels there that are going on. I love this Kojima.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because at one time it's like they talk like he's going into Mexico, but then they do this dialogue cut and it's just like in Mexico. And I'm like, okay, wait, I thought we are in Mexico. So I think there's like
Globetrotting.
Globetrotting, dude.
Yeah.
a little jump there.
Which is nice too. I saw the vehicles on the open sand dunes and stuff. I feel like unless people built you bridges, which was awesome because it really encouraged that group Strand vibe. All of the rocks of Iceland were like hard to really use vehicles a lot. So it looks like some of these spaces will like really use vehicles more than, running around. And you can have like the little robotic things and stuff, but feels like vehicles will probably get an upgrade. And that was in the DLC as well, the director's cut, the like races.
Yeah, they had some extra vehicles.
Yeah.
And something that they had held back on that we didn't really see before the first game came out was the zip lines. Mm-hmm. That was really, really fun, setting up those zip lines and then going all around the mountains and stuff in the snow. Yeah.
The drawbridge logo says both stick and rope to protect and connect together for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good.
Drawbridge.
Good catch.
Are we piloting a mech in this game?
Yes.
Is there going to be a mech fight?
I mean, I think that might be why Shinkawa is on the team.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, there were legs in the first one, so...
You're definitely using them.
There were legs. Yeah, now we got a head, so it's like, here we go.
Collect those parts, baby!
Also, we had the Elden Ring hand monster make an appearance.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
There's a boss fight right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then just like something going on with Lou.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Damiani mentioned
She
it a little bit, of
ain't
course.
dead, dude. She ain't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But Sam thinks that she is, so.
Yeah.
2025
That's going to be a
already.
tragic part.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Part one, even though I didn't understand all of it, like understanding the emotional connections rather than like the minor nitty gritty plot details, of like, wait, why is this person? How does this connect? Like the emotions are there.
I mean,
and there were some really powerful moments. I imagine too. We already see people like crying and like hugging, and it's like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, like Fragile like gasps when she sees who it is in the chrysalis. So it's like I'm curious about that. Like if what
Guillermo
the
del
history
Toro.
is.
I wonder if he'll be in there.
Hope
Yeah,
so.
but I mean, like the bonds between Norman and BB and like Fragile and the scene where a character toward the end like takes their mask off and is just like weeping. I was like, this is really good. Like, I don't know. It's really cool.
Sam Porter Bridges, top 10 names.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Nice. And then right after that, they didn't have any kind of footage or concept art or anything. They just had a really crazy drone shot.
They just pulled out of the Sony Culver City lot
Yeah.
and showed the sign.
Yeah. Herman Holst and Hideo Kojima announced a new action espionage game going into production after Death Stranding 2. Which, does that make it like a PlayStation 6 launch game? And like, that's going to be a while. Yeah.
And that, it's a non-announcement to me, but it also is actually a really big thing because it makes me think that this will be the end of Death Stranding 2 either like fully or for a long time. Because, I mean, you go back to Death Stranding 1 till when this ships, and that's like a lot of years for Kojima to work on one thing. I know he worked on Metal Gear forever.
Right.
But, like, I imagine he wants to do, like, more new stuff, new things. He's doing the Xbox
OD.
game. He's doing OD.
And several, like, movie multimedia things, too.
So, like, I wonder if this will be the end of Death Stranding or it'll go to another studio. Like, would that ever happen?
No, I don't think that'll happen. But I do think, I do think it's something that, like, he's fine with putting on the shelf.
Yeah.
They made a point of saying this is our third new IP. He's trying out other things.
Yeah.
For kind of reference, the Xbox game was teased in June of 2022.
Wow.
And then we didn't get the thing until the Game Awards, which is December 2023.
Yeah.
And that's still, like, so early that we don't know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
And then what was funny, though, is he said, blurring the boundaries between film and games, offering near lifelike graphics and a new take on interactive entertainment. And I'm like, I don't know. All I can think of is Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
Is like, why else would you be at some place like the Sony lot? Like,
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're gonna shoot
Live action. Yeah.
scenes.
I wonder if they'll have a movie,
Yeah.
like an actual legit feature film
Yeah.
that is part of the game universe, like that connects in a way that has never been done before. Like I'm waiting for that moment, you know, when it's like somehow, you know, you play the game and then you see the movie, and it's like directly connects. Like, yeah, I don't know. I know we had like Enter the Matrix, but like that, like something, but like way more ambitious than that.
I mean, he's said a few times that they are working on film stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
The name that they came out was on the side of the building is PHYSINT.
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 Yeah, I thought of SIGINT too. I totally thought of SIGINT. Yeah.
Which they just call a working title, but yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Physical interaction, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Intelligence, physical intelligence, maybe.
But it is interesting to think about
SIGINT.
Kojima going back into this space, because it's like, you know, we don't have very many great stealth action games now.
What did he call it? Because Metal Gear is tactical espionage action. What did he call this?
Action espionage.
Action espionage.
Okay. Yeah,
Basically the same thing.
Basically the same thing, yeah.
It's backwards. So you do the same thing, but backwards and in heels.
Yeah. It's almost like Herman was like, hey, Kojima, like, all Konami's doing over there is remake.
Yeah, they're just
You want to do something?
Yeah.
You want to do something?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
So,
exciting.
Yeah. We'll get into some more of that state of play stuff in a minute. But first, Huber,
Yo.
Suicide Squad's finally here.
Oh, we're doing this now.
We're doing this now.
Wow.
Let's talk about some Suicide Squad.
Okay.
You've gotten a good ways into it. I've only gotten
at, like, the end.
through the intro, basically.
Yeah, I'm at the end of this game right now.
The end?
Yeah.
Is it short?
Pretty short. Pretty short.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
But I assume, you know, I assume there's the end game, which will be like the bulk of the game. But then, wow, there's a lot to unpack in this game. Holy shit. Okay.
Well, since I'm kind of early on, let me talk about some of the early
Okay.
Because it's like the story I'm enjoying
Yes.
and the characters and all of that, but there is a lot of freaking story
Yeah.
in the beginning of this game.
Quite a bit.
Like, I literally, like, I put like probably like 2 or 3 hours in last night, and like I'm just now getting to the point where it's like, here are your skill trees. And, like, so much of my time was just like watching cutscenes or interacting with things where people are going to talk and like all of this stuff, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's so weird to me, Huber, because it's like, again, that like single player multiplayer thing, because it's like, is this really a multiplayer game, or is this a single player game that you then go back to replay with your buddies?
Exactly.
Like,
Like there is so much story and banter between the characters and audio logs. Like, I would recommend playing this game for single player. I did the same thing with Diablo 4, you know? You go through the campaign solo, because then you can take knees, you can listen to, you know, optional dialogue and find collectibles and really read those. Yeah, because following this story with multiple people chattering would just be way harder.
Yeah.
So, you know, and even the campaign itself feels like it's just trying to get you to the end game. You know, you'll do side quests and it's like, okay, you can craft now, or like, okay, now you've unlocked like this vendor.
Right.
So you're just like doing things to get to the end game. This game does a lot of things really well and a lot of things really poorly.
Yeah. I mean, it looks really great.
Yeah, it really is
runs
a mix.
really well
yeah,
so far.
It really is a mixed bag, and you know, it's a very polarizing game for sure. I mean, people. It feels like that people were excited to talk shit on this game, like I haven't seen in a while.
Right.
Like there was a fervor and an excitement for people to just rip into Suicide Squad, and some of that's valid for sure. Like, let's just dive into like the combat. You know, I'm not fully sold on the combat.
Right.
Because so many of these friggin' encounters, like I love talking about combat because there's so much to it. It's more than just simple mechanics. It's context. It's level design. It's enemy design.
Right.
It's story beats. And so many of these encounters, you're just fighting purple glowing monsters on really small rooftops. That is 90% of this game. And it's just... it gets tiring. It gets exhausting. You know, you'll knock an enemy off the roof and it's like, okay, now I have to like go and like find, they're like down there and let me get a shot on them or like zip all the way around to like get them and then zip all the way back. It's just like annoying. There are some really annoying combat moments where I'm just like, yo, this is not fun.
And then at the same time, there'll be some sniper somewhere like targeting you or a helicopter or something. Yeah,
for sure. I will say, you know, from when I first streamed to where I am now, I'm way more comfortable. This game has a lot of controls, a lot of mechanics.
Yeah.
But that also is conflicting because on the other side, it's like there some of these moves you unlock or like some of the traits and some of the weapons have so much text. It is insane.
Right.
Unlock 20% affliction damage when you jump 5 times and you're 10 meters away from 3 enemies that have 50% less health. It's like, why do you need to be that complicated?
Right.
It's insane.
Hubert, no joke, when because like I said, I got to that skills screen. Like I basically just got everyone's costumes finally.
Yeah.
And that's basically where I ended. Is like right when we like step out of, you know, them setting up base in the Hall of Heroes or whatever it's called, Hall of Justice.
Yeah.
And then that's when they show you like the skill tree.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is Borderlands.
Yeah.
This is really actually Borderlands. The way these skill trees like are set up
it's
and
got
the
some
side by
shades of that.
side,
For sure.
it really looks like the same structure. And like I don't know like, you know, how you get down into them, you know, but they really feel very similar in those regards.
Yeah.
But yeah,
traversal feels amazing.
Yeah, traversal is great. It actually does feel very different for each character.
It does.
They all have their own little quirks.
Traversal is absolutely one of the highlights of this game. Captain Boomerang and Deadshot feel so fun to zip around with. King Shark has like really awesome leaps and stuff, which is really cool. And Harley is definitely the trickiest to use. Because she uses like Batman's grapple, but she can't glide like Batman could in Arkham City Onward. So you get like, you can do like a grapple on the drone and then another grapple. But after like 2, the cooldown is so long that you'll need to find a launch point to like use your other like launch.
Yeah.
And that'll reset it. So there are some times if there are not a lot of buildings around where you're like, I'm going to fall to the ground and start over. But I've definitely gotten a lot better with her mobility. I just don't think it's as fun as like Captain Boomerang's so fun and Deadshot's so fun. But I'm sure everyone will have their favorite to use. But Captain Boomerang feels really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you start off with?
This is what I like, Bloodworth.
Yeah.
It encourages you to use everybody.
Yeah.
In a really fun way. If you play on higher difficulties, you get more XP and resources, which is cool. And before some missions, it'll be like, yo, this character is like more excited for this mission.
Right.
They'll get more XP. So
Yeah.
I really have been using every single character evenly, and I really appreciate that. It's really smart and really fun. Yeah, just to be able to use everybody.
That's kind of a funny way to phrase that.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
This character wants to do this.
Yeah, like, Captain Boomerang has some, like, a grudge against Flash. You know, they tango a lot, and, you know, when you go do some missions revolving that, Captain Boomerang's like, oh, yeah, let's go. I'm excited. Like, it's like, okay, use Captain Boomerang for this.
And it's communicated really well, too, Isla, because when you switch characters, there's, like, a ring, right, with, the 4 different directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one that you're going to get those bonuses with, like, it's, like, glowing pink.
Oh, okay.
You know? So, like, you know which one
Yeah.
that you're going to be more in tune with for that mission.
Yeah.
But before you get to that point, before you can swap, like, the opening section, like, you do have to, like, you know, make a choice for the first hour or so.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I went with King Shark, and it was great because it's, like, his commentary is so good.
Yeah.
It was, like like really was like talking about like how important journalism and stuff was at the Daily Planet, and like how much he respects Lois Lane, and then it's like, yeah, but they didn't have any treats for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm already, like, there's a lot to learn, so I'm already so much more comfortable than when I was. I'll stream it again, chat some endgame shit, get nuts, but even then, it's like, sometimes zipping around, like, isn't as efficient. You know, I always talk about that. It's why I was, like, a little critical of Devil May Cry 5, and it's like, sometimes you don't need to be unnecessarily flashy. Sometimes just basic fundamentals are the most efficient way through this combat encounter.
Yeah.
But it is fun to, like, when you really get going and zipping around and like picking these enemies off. But again, like, so many of these missions are just so boring. Like, you do the same shit. It'll be like, yo, escort this moving vehicle to the point. Okay, the vehicle is stopped now. Go clear the rooftops. Or it'll be like, hey, go rescue 3 survivors from 3 different rooftops and bring them back here. And it's just like, there's such a limited pool of enemies. And there's no connection, you know? Of course, this game's going to be compared to Batman. And it's like, you think about that. Think about the Batman enemies. It's like you're going to take out Two-Face. You're fighting Two-Face's gang, his crew. They're like, you know, they have banter about Two-Face and about the Batman and about Catwoman, like, stealing shit and coming in. It's like you have a connection to the people you're fighting. Whereas this is just like numbers, lifeless enemies, numbers. Right. It's like,
and the stealth elements of Batman allow you to kind of like, you know, hang back and eavesdrop on people and everything. And here, as like I can imagine, like there's none of that with these goons, at least that I've seen.
Yeah, there's no connection to these goons whatsoever. I will say the squad themselves has really endured them to me. I am so into all of them, even when they have really crude humor like you would probably expect from the Suicide Squad. You know, there are some, you know, pretty blue jokes in there. They still land because the VO is amazing, the acting, like the visuals, you can really see their facial expressions. Like the crew and the story and the banter is definitely a highlight. And there's a lot of Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
A lot of Kevin Conroy in here. A lot of chatter from Conroy.
But one of the things I was thinking here, Huber, you know, like I was saying about how, you know, about how much, like, there's so much upfront story. Similarly, one part that I really like that's in the beginning is there's sort of like this Batman museum.
Yeah.
Where it, like, recaps the Arkham trilogy plus what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
But there are also all of these buttons for, like, every villain.
Yeah.
And I was like, some of them, they'll, like, you know, the squad will give their own commentary on, but a lot of them are just, like, basic stuff about those characters. And it's just, like, again, that was a part where it's like, okay, you didn't really need to have all these buttons. It just kind of bogs things down a bit. Like, it was a little bit more, like, I like it.
Yeah. But imagine that with 4 people all pushing different buttons.
Right.
Like chaos.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it's better to have just, like, focused on those big points you want people to hit, because those were fun little, like, animated things with cardboard cutouts and all of that.
Yeah. Amanda Waller is also amazing. Her performance, like, these characters are seriously good, as you would expect if you played the Arkham trilogy. I'm stoked about it.
Yeah, her interaction with Wonder Woman, like, right off the bat,
Yeah, I mean, the way it connects everything, it might, like, devalue the Arkham trilogy a little bit, because that was so focused and tight and incredible. Whereas this, you know, this kind of has, like, a Metal Gear Solid Revengeance situation here, Damiani. Just I was waiting for a response.
Yeah, what are you thinking? From what we're talking about so far, Damiani?
I mean, I don't mean to, like, rain on the parade, but, like, everything about this game looks, like, horrible to me. I have, like, no interest in this game.
Yeah.
From the moment, everything they've shown about this game, I'm happy to hear the performances, like, are good. And, like, the stuff about, like, the story. I think for a lot of people, that's, like, the silver lining. It's like, hey, at least I'm getting, you know, this good narrative. I'm getting these good performances. I can at least enjoy that. And when it sounds like even when I don't get through that, it's not too terribly long of a time investment. So it's like, jump in, get out, had a good time. And, like, it's not going to keep you coming back for seconds.
Yeah, I don't know how this game is going to have legs, honestly. Like, okay, we're getting new characters and stuff, but, like, am I really going to want to grind these new characters if the combat itself is just not that satisfying?
Right.
Like, the combat just like I've unlocked more stuff and like more moves. Like you have your ultimate ability kinda and your other like melee ability. But it's like, yo, I was already down on the combat from the jump, and now that I've put like 10, 15 hours in, it's like, dude, the combat's just getting worse because it's the same damn thing over and over. And it's just like, now there's more annoying enemy types and like more annoying objectives. Like, oh, these enemies can only be damaged if you do this. And it's like, it's just not fun. And even the guns like have they don't have the best feedback. The melee doesn't have the best feedback.
Though, is and hopefully I can pick it up in the story at some point. But like when they first give you King Shark, that minigun,
the minigun's cool.
The way that thing feels on the DualSense is
good.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah, the DualSense stuff is good. That stuff doesn't excite.
But then
me,
once you get into like the main game, like you don't have that gun, so you have a slower minigun that's like not quite the same.
Yeah. So yeah, the end game will be obviously different opinions. Like that's a huge part of this game, but.
Which is interesting because
stories,
that's the kind of thing I'm not even personally interested in. So it's like, how much am I even going to get out of multiplayer? Because I don't necessarily want to do multiplayer.
I definitely want to do
my first run through.
But
I don't know how much I want to play multiplayer after that. This is just like this weird dynamic of these two things back to back.
Join the Easy Allies clan if you're watching this. I think at best it's just okay, really. I know there's like the hardest takes out there, the most aggressive, vitriolic, like FU die takes, and then there's also the other side, the toxic positivity of like, oh, you're all just babies, you all just wanted Arkham. Like, no, I think it's actually nuanced and it's somewhere in the middle where like some of this game is really good, like the traversal and the story and the characters, like we were saying. But the combat just isn't great. Like maybe if you get 4 people all really going. Right. But even like with the addition of afflictions, there's like different afflictions. So it'll be like, okay, you can freeze enemies. These afflictions like sound cool in theory, but this stuff never excites me where it's like, you can freeze enemies. All the afflictions have buffs, pros and cons.
Right.
So it'll be like, there's a Bane one where it's like all the enemies will fight each other, but they like take less damage or something. Or like electric enemies, if you electrocute them, they take damage over time, but then they do more damage to you. I forget the exact.
There's just so much of this, Borderlands, Diablo style
There's
stuff.
So many
and I just am not interested in that with this game for whatever reason.
Same.
I don't care about gun stats or any of this stuff. I am definitely more of a fan of the Batman is like, you get a new gadget and then you use that gadget. And I don't need a bunch of numbers to compare things.
Or even like Destiny. Destiny is so clear with its abilities and stuff. It's like a less is more approach here. The numbers go up, but this, it's like, okay, the numbers are going up, but also it has all these other modifiers. There's just like such an onslaught of modifiers where it's like, I'm not compelled to take the time to really dive in. Like, obviously I have a little bit, but it's like, okay, now I can, like, it's still at the end of the day, it just comes down to
shoot him in the legs, melee him.
Shoot him in the legs, melee, get your combo up, and just keep shooting. Like
counter shot. Ouch! I'm still not feeling the counter shot thing. Really, it's kind of a weird.
I like it.
I don't know.
It's like a ranged.
Just mechanically,
counter.
It just feels a little weird with the button assignments.
Yeah, like the distance that it works, and like the AOE of how it works. Like sometimes I'll hit him like way far away and it'll work, but then it won't. Yeah, this game it's rough. I'm trying to find the positives just with the story and everything. Like, it is really cool, but I don't see myself sticking around very long.
Yeah.
So maybe not the train wreck that we all thought it would be, but definitely not great.
How about...
Maybe I'm swimming. We'll see the end game. The end game will decide if I'm swimming or if I sink all the way to the bottom.
I know it's a little early to say this, but how about Avengers? The comparison to this versus Avengers. Because Avengers, everyone was talking about how good the campaign was.
Yeah.
And then,
I honestly think this campaign might be stronger just because I like the DC characters a lot. Like there's a lot of DC characters popping up. Whereas the Avengers campaign was like a little more focused on like MODOK and Kamala and they all the Marvel stuff didn't pop up as much as the DC stuff's popping up in this. But yeah, I liked that campaign too. But that had the same problem where you're just fighting lifeless AIM robots. Like now we're just fighting purple glowy things. So, yeah. We'll see how the end game goes, Blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll check in with you after you're done.
Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing. That actually really lowered it quite a bit. I'm not going to talk about it because spoilers. But, like, we could have risen to, like, a solid swimming in sevens. Like, yo, we're swimming. The boss fights.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
No.
Haven't gotten to any yet, but okay.
No. Nope. This ain't it. This ain't it. Nope.
All right, let's get back to that state of play. First up, Stellar Blade.
Stellar!
We got a date on this coming up real soon.
Yeah.
PS5 only, April 26th.
Nice.
Stellar Blade follows the journey of Eve, a warrior who descends from an off-world colony to defeat the Natibas,
The Natibas.
humanity's enemy that suddenly emerged on Earth. The Natibas appear to be attacking the human race at the will of a higher entity composed of Alpha and an Elder, but no one really knows about their origin. So, yeah.
They swerved so quick off of natives that I'm kind of almost impressed. Because it used to be NA:TIVES.
Yeah.
And apparently they changed it by the time this released.
Yeah, to Natibas, which is only barely better.
Yeah.
Protagonist
Yeah,
Eve
Natibas.
finds herself in a devastated world where she meets Adam, a survivor left on Earth, and Lily, a member of a previous airborne squad. Together they join forces to battle against the Natibas. Along the way, Eve's party works with the surviving citizens in the last human city, Zion.
Matrix.
Yeah, so what do you think about how this is
Bible.
compared to like what we thought earlier?
I mean, it's what I expected from the
Okay.
last trailer we saw, same combat looking, kind of Soulsy and kind of Bayonetta-y, like, get your parries, get your dodges, you're fighting big hulking beasts. The part that surprised me, like I said on our reactions, was just the RPG stuff, like walking around town, having little campsites, little vending machine areas. The town looked fun to explore. Like, I really like this town. Yeah, I can't imagine really getting all like wrapped up in this story,
Right.
but the game itself looks fun and the characters look pretty cool. Some of these like cyberpunk looking freakos, like, you got your anime people, your cyberpunk people. Like, it's pretty much what I expected.
Damiani, what are you thinking? Is all this open world exploration questing a bit of a surprise?
Yeah. To me, it's like gives me pause. I feel like it could be done very poorly, and it's not very easy to do well. So I hope it doesn't just like ruin the pacing. I was kind of just expecting like go out, big environments, fight enemies and some bosses, and then like upgrade. So I don't know. It didn't look. The environments looked nice, but some of the interactions I saw didn't look terribly interesting. It looks like it's borrowing from a lot of like different things, and I hope it's not like just like a checklist of like we should have this because it was cool in this game. We should have this. It is like how it comes together. I'm very curious if it can like nail that. And yeah, like for earlier trailers that made the combat look really awesome, it took its sweet time to. I mean, I wanted to show off other stuff. It took a sweet time to get there again, and like I watched it a second time, and I'm like, I'm not like it looks okay. Like I'm not like blown away, and I'm not like particularly like really sold on this yet. Like I still feel like maybe I'd need a demo, and it would win me over.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we still get one too. It's a couple months out. Isla, what do you think? There's a lot of cosmetics in this. You keep seeing different outfits for her.
Boy, do we. We were just talking about various things about how women's bodies actually work. And yeah, I don't know. This game, like, it is what it is, right? It's a sexy booba waifu game with some combat and a pseudo open world, but probably just about cosmetic and microtransactions. So like I don't know, I see it for what it is, and like all the like 2-camera ass shots, you know, it's like hell yeah, but at the same time like okay, you know, that's what this game is. So I don't know, seems fine. If it's free, I'll try it.
If it's free. Yeah, I do think the monster designs are pretty crazy.
I think combat looks sick as shit in this
Yeah.
game. I don't know. I'm sold on the combat heavily.
Yeah.
I
think it looks
worry
really
about
fun.
all the slowdown, like all the pausing and like
For
cinematic
sure.
flipping and crap. Like I know
Definitely.
like some people like that, but I super don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope
mean,
that's
that definitely
just,
gives me like a Bayonetta type of thing.
I
Yeah.
hope that's just like
You time it
visceral
right.
attacks or kill attacks or whatever. But yeah, definitely too much slowdown can really kill
Yeah.
it. Like even Tekken 8,
keep
I was like,
saying-
there's a lot of slowdown in this.
And yes, I know
Oh,
that she was modeled after a real human woman. We were talking more about the physics, not her proportions. But yeah,
Yeah, and
I
I
don't
like,
know. Seems fine.
I like that
Damiani?
there's guns and shit too, like swords and blades, or swords and blades and guns and like some giant laser beam. I don't know. Looks cool.
The enemy design and the world design and the like town designs are sick.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that. And the outfits are hot as shit. Like, come on.
Damian, you were gonna say something?
Oh, I mean, I don't think we mentioned it once. I'm kind of proud of ourselves, but I'm going to ruin it now. We never compared this to like Nier. Like, it's definitely it's taking inspiration from Nier. Like, it's
Definitely.
100% looks like Automata. Yeah. I wanted to
Yeah.
give us a shout out.
But yeah, these crazy enemies with like just a wheel of teeth for a head, and there's like also like this panther that has like a hand kind of thing going on for its head too. Yeah.
What I'm curious to see is if you can change the colors on the costumes, because
Yeah.
then like things are gonna get real zesty out
Sure.
there.
Next up, Sonic Cross Shadow Generations.
Crazy.
Didn't see
Yeah.
this coming. And reading about it, I didn't even understand this from the trailer. This is a remaster of Sonic Generations with a Shadow campaign being added.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Love Sonic
Yeah.
Generations. Haven't played it since it was out.
Heck yeah.
So I didn't recognize any of these. Crazy.
So it says a brand
Well,
new
I mean-
Shadow story. Oh, go for it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was Sonic Generations for a while, but I'm like, what? Then Shadow showed up. I'm like, okay, what is it? That was like
Yeah.
2. Okay, Sonic, yeah, but it sounds like with a new campaign, like it really is like significant new content added
Kind
on.
of like
which
a
is cool.
Bowser's Fury type situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious how long it is compared to the original
Yeah.
Sonic Generations
Probably
campaign.
like 5 hours, I'm going to guess. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Still really cool, dude. And like a great time for this. You know, Sonic had Frontiers, which did really well. And obviously the movies are doing really well. Some Shadow hype in there. You know, I feel like Shadow's like, when's the last time Shadow had like new content? What was the last new Shadow the Hedgehog content where he got like marquee billing?
Right.
Feels like it's been a while.
Not only that, Huber, but get this. Dive into his dark past
Hell yeah.
to unlock
Punished.
his inner powers, explore his backstory,
Yes.
and confront familiar foes to save the world and prove why he's known as the ultimate life form.
You're out of your mind. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm hyped on that. I'm excited on like even other than the Shadow stuff, I'm excited to revisit Sonic Generations because that was so long ago I played that, and I just remember having a strong love for that game.
Yeah.
You know, I remember it came like Sonic had so many ups and downs and like struggled a little bit here and there throughout its life as a franchise, and I remember that being like a positive note. Like Sonic Generations, I remember coming away from that game being like, yo, that was a good Sonic game. Like, yes. So
Yeah. That's coming in fall on basically everything. PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
cool.
We got a brief look at, we don't need to worry about putting the footage because it's so quick. Dave the Diver has a Godzilla tease. We don't really know much about how it's going to work, but
Dave the Diver is the
Cool.
new Shovel Knight. Like everything's gonna pop up into Dave the Diver, and Dave the Diver's gonna start popping up everywhere else. Like we're going full Shovel Knight right now. Yeah.
yeah. But then the next big one, Judas, which is coming from Ghost Story Games, which is Ken Levine's new outfit.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't realize or remember that he also had worked on System Shock 2 before BioShock and
Damn right.
BioShock Infinite. And this is coming to PS5, Series X and S, and PC. They're saying that the trailer has a lot of in-game PS5 footage.
Nice.
But the little blurb they got
in-game
here,
footage in general. It's good.
the Mayflower is the name of this place.
Okay.
A spacefaring city whose citizens are trained to tear each other apart for even the most minor infractions.
That is a hilarious premise.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That is shades of BioShock. I love that. That absurdity.
Yeah.
Like someone litters and he just gets like mobbed by 10 people and ripped apart. That is awesome.
Yeah. And where machines control every aspect of business, art, and government.
Whoa.
You, as Judas, are the driver of every event in a mysterious story with a new cast of characters to get to know and to change in a world where every decision you make affects how the story unfolds.
Great. I know, you think about how long ago BioShock was, and it's like, let's get more ambitious. Let's really elevate the immersive sim genre again. Like that, this has that potential. This what does this come out in 2024, 2025?
They haven't actually put anything on it. They said the platforms, but they didn't put a time window that I've seen.
Yeah. I want to see awesome story impact on how you play this game. That is my wish.
Yeah. But very BioShock, and then you've got the gun in the right hand and the fire or ice or whatever in the other.
Classic.
You even see a Vita chamber kind of thing where you're rebuilding your arms when you respawn.
Yeah. I really like the art design. I really like the overall look. Very happy with the way that game looks.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Yeah.
V BioShock.
Yeah.
Damiani, were you into those at all?
Oh yeah, I brought BioShock to Hall of Greats before it was thwarted by Goldman.
Goldman.
Yeah. I never played 2, but I was really I played through Infinite.
2 was all right.
And yeah, I heard 2 was decent. Infinite, had a lot of high expectations. Don't think it quite lived up to it.
That game is in dire need of a cultural reexamination. I feel like it has been so long. When's the last time anyone replayed BioShock Infinite? That is what I want to know.
Sophia and I were talking about replaying it the other day, actually, because I remember loving the early city stuff, walking around in the barbershop quartet and all that.
Yeah.
It's so good, and then it's kind of the middle part of it, and the shooting was just kind of that. My memory of it was that those were kind of where it fell down.
Its DLC was
really good,
incredible.
Yeah, for some reason, even though as much as I like that game, I never did get around to playing that DLC.
Real good.
Yeah.
Go on, Damiani. I cut you off.
I'm pretty sure I played through the DLC. You went back to Rapture, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was known before it came out. Barry, let's see.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if that was it or if it was a different one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that ending, the original ending, got everyone talking about it, whether you hated it or loved it. I mean, kind of like Mass Effect 3. I mean, controversial endings.
Yeah.
But it does feel maybe I'm too casual in the mainstream to be aware of games that have been similar to this. Besides the System Shock re-release that came out recently, they really haven't done a game like this. I think since Infinite and its DLC, right? This has just been something people
Yeah,
been a while.
we have Deus,
Nice to go back
Deus
to
Ex games, and
we have immersive sims. Yeah, we've
Dishonored, and
Dishonored.
Well, those are so different style. I feel like
Cyberpunk,
BioShock with its its setting and those steampunk retro a period piece set during alternate history of a decade. I kind of like that, and I don't think we really had that.
Totally.
Clockwork Revolution.
Yeah.
That was the one. I was trying to remember that name. Yeah, that
Get a little
one.
We
I thought
Happy
that
Few
might
vibes.
be it.
Well, that's the BioShock. Biology got into all kinds of stuff. The legacy of BioShock is rippling throughout many games. 2 had really good combat.
System Shock and Deus Ex, of course.
Yeah.
Really got that genre cooking. Immersive sims for life. It's other than survival horror, immersive sims is my second favorite genre probably. It's just finding a really good one does seem more rare. There's so many good survival horror games, but immersive sims, they don't always You
Right.
know? They don't pop up too often.
Yeah.
It's funny. I never thought of the BioShock as an immersive sim, really.
Yeah, they all have like their varying like what they lean into more than others, you know. BioShock definitely is a little more on like the action adventure
Yeah.
side, you know, not really like talking to characters and making changes that way, but
Yeah.
just how you like approach situations definitely has that vibe.
But this definitely seems to be, from at least from the
Yeah,
description, they
way
seem to
more.
be focused a little bit more on the story aspects.
For sure. Which gets me more excited. Like I'm
Yeah.
way more excited. Like I actually like can think about what this game is and what is it gonna be.
Yeah.
Which has me really excited. Yeah.
The quote in
more
the
than just a
trailer
game.
that I wrote down, I'm here to set you free whether you like it or not.
Awesome.
It's like, okay. Also, one that got your attention here,
Yes.
Metro Awakening.
Hell yeah, dude. I love Metro. Play these games in freaking Russian, dude. Get immersed. Metro 23, Last Light, and Exodus. All three of these games are phenomenal.
Yeah.
I really have a soft spot for the first one because it's like a little more like horror-y, survival.
Yeah, a
horror
little bit
vibes.
more grounded, like the,
Yeah.
you know, the more
I always love when things are grounded. like
paranormal stuff kind of comes up, but you don't expect it at first.
Yeah, so very hyped on this. I mean, I VR makes me sick sometimes, so we'll see. But you know, more Metro. Like this franchise still is cooking, still has a pulse, is exciting. I wonder where we're gonna go next, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just excited for there to be more Metro.
So this is a prequel. Says and is actually a quote from the author. This origin story is so essential to me. It feels like returning to the foundations and roots of the
Wow.
series, now at the level that VR technology can bring.
Wow.
You play as a guy named Surtur, a doctor on a quest to reunite with his wife by traveling through the mutant-ridden tunnels beneath a
Jessica.
post-apocalyptic Moscow. As Surtur, you will navigate a complex storyline that tests belief in the rational and tempts you to embrace the awakening of the being you are destined to become,
Whoa.
Whoa, dude.
whatever that means.
A
Whoa.
father.
And then they are still working, 4A Games is still working on the next mainline installment.
So they are. Then no one's coming.
Yeah, there's another one coming.
Awesome, dude. Let's go. Yeah, just a really fun, like, well, fun is a funny word to use with Metro because it is very intense.
Yeah.
But
You got
just
your
a,
weapons jamming up and everything. Yeah.
yeah, it just has like a little bit of shades of survival horror throughout for sure. Like, you know, managing your resources and just the world is so immersive and there's so much like world building in this franchise, like the metro stations and
Yeah, just
like,
walking around
walking
like
on
a
the
town and listening
surface.
to everybody.
Yeah.
Having these conversations that, like, you really are listening to conversations that other people are having that are not about you.
Yep.
You know.
Like using light in dark locations
Mm-hmm.
and managing radiation and yeah, just a really awesome franchise I love and I'm super down for more. And they haven't missed a beat. Like all three of those games, that original trilogy is
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, and they've always leaned into that immersion factor too, with kind of similar to Metroid Prime, where like, you know, you have your gas mask that
Definitely wiping
cracks
it off.
and you have to wipe
yeah,
off
for
and,
sure.
And then with the pneumatic weapons that you like have
Yes,
to pump and
pump
like, you feel that
those.
resistance in the triggers and
Yeah,
everything. And,
dude.
like, yeah.
So cool.
But yeah, that's coming out this year for PSVR 2, MetaQuest 2 and 3, as well as PC VR.
Did they ever put 2033 on consoles?
Yeah.
2033, the first one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, played that one on PC and then the other one's on console.
Yeah, I remember it was one of those games that was like pushing everyone's systems.
Yeah.
Like people were trying to like max it out.
For sure.
The next one we saw was another VR game. They had two VR games back to back. Legendary Tales. And this one has been in Steam Early Access since 2021. But it's actually coming out next week. And it's going to hit 1.0 on PC at the same time it releases on PlayStation VR 2.
Cool.
Yeah, they talk a lot about having like the physics-based combat, which we see a lot in the trailer, where like they're like grabbing skeletons and like bashing things with their shields and
Pretty
pushing stuff
badass,
around.
honestly. I mean, you know me, I'm always, anytime down to fight skeletal warriors. You could wake me from a deep sleep in the middle of the night and ask me to fight skeletal warriors, and I am down
Yeah.
every time. This looks like skeletal warriors sim, dude. Like, you're just fighting ghouls and skeletal warriors.
Hubert, this line is like so much about you right here. We're all about satisfying feedback.
Yes.
And strive to make players feel the power of their strikes
Awesome.
through the reaction of their enemies.
Feel the hits.
Also designed around multiplayer as well, so that's interesting to be playing with your buddies
Yeah.
in the VR.
Get some like Legolas Gimli bonds going.
Yeah.
Toss me. Dude, like sharpening the blades. Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about making potions and collecting items and all that stuff. And so.
Playing catch with like a skeleton head. That seems fun.
Yeah.
Dude, if there's teleport moving, I will play this with you.
Yeah, I'm so down.
I
to
bet
play
there
this.
is. I feel like it's becoming more standard.
Yeah, Pukezilla. If there's not, I can't do it.
Yeah, I do get a little ill. I can get through VR games, I got through like big ones like Alex and Resident Evil 7, but definitely like when I'm done playing, I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been on anything VR for a minute, so.
Yeah, it's been a minute for me too. I sampled like Horizon, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. It's like the last time I really got into it was the VR2 launch.
Mm-hmm.
Just picking up a skeleton by its neck and punching it repeatedly in the face.
Crazy.
It's so funny to me.
The Captain
Choke
America
slam.
thing too with the shield.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
shield making an eagle screech noise
Yeah.
when you throw it. Out of control.
Yeah.
This game looks sick.
Yeah. It looks very cool.
Isla,
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
What's that?
We keep getting to see that. They're really pushing every time they get a chance. There's Dragon's Dogma 2 again.
Yeah. Stop showing it. No, actually, it's very good that they're showing it because it needs more eyeballs on it.
It'll
Dragon's
sell.
Dogma. I mean, I hope so, dude. It feels like it's so funny because I'm such a big fan of it, you know, and I know that other fans of Dragon's Dogma are huge fans of Dragon's Dogma,
Yeah.
and so it really does feel like a cult classic in a way that a lot of other games don't feel.
Yeah.
Whenever I recommend Dragon's Dogma to people, which I do frequently, it's always kind of hard because I'm like, listen, it's janky and weird and very strange, but it's perfect in every way. Believe me. And yeah, having played this one, it's very, 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 very cool. And it feels like Dragon's Dogma, but more polished. And they've repeatedly said like technology is now at a place where this game can be what they wanted it to be initially, and like that felt very apparent and very true pretty much immediately.
Yeah, I think when reviews and streams start hitting, this game is gonna take off to the races.
Yeah.
Because the hype definitely, like you were saying, Isla, it definitely feels like still a little quiet for now. I expected there to be like a fever for this game. But I think just like the 2 in the title, probably a lot of people missed the first one. That was a PS3 game, that generation.
They've been good about keeping it re-released and stuff.
Yeah, Dark Arisen, PS4, but
it is just such a unique game also, like it's not quite like anything else. So I think that once people get to know it, it'll be like I think Dragon's Dogma 2 is gonna have legs. Like it's gonna keep selling for a while.
All year.
Yeah.
Damiani, do you like what you're seeing so far?
Yes. It does look pretty cool. Like and it's interesting what you said about the hype because maybe it might come across a little quiet, but every time I watch people who react to this, they're like, "Oh, this is the game I'm most looking forward to this year,"
Nice.
or "This is one of the biggest games I'm looking forward to." So I think it's going to be a big deal when it comes out, which is interesting because what else also comes out on that day? It's like, yeah, it has some like competition, but I think at the end of the day, this is going to be the one that people are going to be talking about. So like, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when it lands, like what the discourse is going to be around it.
And just that Capcom logo gets people hyped by itself,
Yeah. Yeah, they've been cooking pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of things that came out. We talked about some of this after our reactions, but I wanted to bring this up again for the podcast. There's a new vocation. The warfare sounds like it's kind of more advanced because it's like it can use every weapon and learn different skills from every vocation.
Whoa.
And so that way you can like basically kind of craft your own vocation in a way, mix and match different things. But they say lower base stats. So you have to kind of like look at the different situational strengths of each weapon and stuff, what's going to work in each encounter.
Crazy.
There's also the Dragon's Plague that infects pawns as they travel between worlds. But it rather than weakening them, it like makes them display remarkable performance and become conspicuously bold in their speech and behavior. I'm just like, what? What is happening here?
It's such a perfect idea. Oh my god! And the narrative implications of that are like making my head spin. I love it.
Yeah, and then when it reaches a terminal stage, it will result in devastating calamity.
It's
But
insane.
the veracity of those claims is unclear.
That
Like,
is
what is
insane.
happening?
Yeah, I don't
What
know.
is this Dragon's Plague?
It's so funny.
Do I want to stop it or I want to see it happen? I don't know.
I want to see it.
I hope there's like a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And then they talk about you're going to encounter different vocational masters as you explore the world and stuff. And so it's like as you deepen your relationship
Bonds.
with them, you gain their approval and gain access to their vocation. Or they might give you special tomes with new skills and all
Tell
of
him
that.
shout out.
Yeah. Actually, the word they're using is maester. Maister.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Dragon's Dogma has a very old-fashioned,
Yeah.
flowery language. You know,
The Maester.
Nice.
like they use the word "ought" like every other sentence.
That's March 22nd. Also March 22nd, Rise of the Ronin.
Yeah, come on.
Team Ninja.
Why are they doing this to us? Both these games look so incredible. Like, obviously, I'm, Capcom, Dragon's Dogma, of course. Like, that's my number one priority of the year, basically. But Rise of the Ronin is looking so good. This was the best trailer this game has had yet. Really liked all the environments and the combat. I liked how intimate the combat was. I was expecting way more hack and slash from this game. I was not expecting, deliberate parries and dodging and, intimate encounters. I was expecting like Assassin's Creed style, run up and
Right.
slash some people, move on. But yeah, it looks really, really fun. Great premise with the time period. I love the
it's,
idea.
19th century. We saw dates from
Yeah.
between 1858 to 1868 in the trailer.
Yeah, it's giving me that Red Dead 2, Red Dead 1 vibe, Gabby, of like, we're from a different time.
Right.
We're old gunslingers and the world is changing. Like, I love that trope.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really, really excited.
So they say you get swords, you get spears, you get firearms in there. The guns are in there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, hybrid Japanese Western weapons, they said, are options. The only example they kind of gave for that is like a flamethrower type of thing called a fire pipe. And then ignite flammable barrels.
Oh, yeah. Gotta
So
have some
we're not
flammable
free
barrels.
of exploding barrels.
Never.
Also, the bayonet, we saw that in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Using that in a sword fight is pretty wild.
Yeah.
The grappling hook stuff, though,
Yeah.
that really looked great. The
Totally.
dynamics for that, it really felt like Arkham to me.
Sure.
Just grapple up and then
Glide.
use the glider,
Grapple and
like
glide combo.
Batman.
Totally blood.
But then you can land on a horse, which is kind of like jumping into the Batmobile. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's so funny. You're right. Yeah. Hopefully there's just a little less loot. We talk about that with Neo.
Yeah.
Neo is like one of the hardest video games I've ever played in my entire life. And also there's such a barrier to me wanting to like get through it all because the loot is so overwhelming. There's just so much information and numbers. You're just picking shit up all the time.
Well, you always
It's
go
just-
into like the
it's, like, exhausting.
checkpoints and like selling off stuff and all, like just managing
yeah,
inventory a ton.
it's just exhausting on more than one level. It's like Sekiro is like punishing because it's like, okay, you get to a boss and this boss is insane, but everything else is so streamlined that it's like that's all you need to focus on. Whereas like Neo, there's just so much going on information wise. Hopefully this is a little more focused than that.
Yeah. Damiani, what's sticking out to you?
I mean, it just looks really good. I mean, okay, the setting obviously looks great, but I will say for sure that it does look a tiny bit dated, but like everything else looks pretty good. Just like, be a little bit honest here. But yeah, like just the fact that, be able to grapple, launch off and glide and stuff, like that's one of the best feelings in video games.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's starting to become a little bit more commonplace, but there's a reason why. It's awesome. It's just awesome to do that. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing what you could do on top of that, like scouting, drop down kills, like what other, like I want to see how they like evolve that as well. Yeah, like are they gonna go like that route, or is it really just gonna be like, nah, you have to like dismount and like land basically? So I hope they do a little bit more with that, because it'd be sick to like use it in a battle to like quick, like I'm thinking like Arkham City Onward, like when Batman launches himself to get out of there, but get back in, like, no, I got to get the high ground on you, man.
Totally.
But I want enemies to be able to punish you for that later. I want encounters where it's like you can't just cheese that. You can't just like walk up there. There's gonna be something that's gonna like trip you up, or an enemy who's like, I can do it too. You thought you were the only one who could do it? I want someone to like chase me down.
Heck yeah, dude. I love that.
What's interesting too, this didn't really come across in the trailer, but in the blog post they were talking about narrative choices and stuff as well. And so
I love me some narrative choices that actually have impact.
Yeah, it says who you choose to develop a relationship impacts how the story unfolds. They say there's no disadvantages to bonding with a character at the expense of another. So it's weird. It's like there's no disadvantage, but you're doing it at the expense of another. So it's like
it'll probably be like who's gonna show up and help you in this boss fight. Which character are you hanging out with more? Like that's what I imagine.
I think they mean there are no disadvantages at the expense of another. Like that does not happen.
Maybe, but they do say consider it even more variety for your next playthrough. So it sounds like you pick this one person over another,
and they help you out in fights.
Yeah.
Then that sentence makes zero sense.
But yeah, they say in this trailer we see the player choose to help a character named Igashichi fight a group of hostile guards. This choice to help establishes a bond between these characters, lets players get to know Igashichi more deeply, and unlocks other game features.
Whoa.
You'll be able to make these choices with additional characters such as Ryoma Sakamoto highlighted in the previous trailer.
Sick.
So yeah, I guess we'll see how it plays out.
You can unlock Fort Condor if you
my god,
get your bonds high enough.
Next is that Silent Hill 2 remake. What do you think?
Yeah.
Some mixed reactions out there.
Listen, I think that people are overblowing the. It's so hard for me to say on this because I'm so nervous about this. Like to me, the only glaring problem, and I talked about this in our reaction in this, is his hair and his face look totally wrong. But like everything else, like, the settings look good, the fog looks good, the puzzles look interesting and developed further. Obviously they're showing like jumping across the apartment building, so we know like certain gameplay beats and moments are still there. Good looking wallpaper. What people are mostly responding to is the combat, and like my hope is that this is just a trailer that focused a lot on combat, and that is making it give the impression that it's more combat focused as a game than
I mean, it is literally titled the combat trailer.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like, what are you gonna do? You got to cut between combat. I mean, the stuff that makes me a little nervous is just like they're showing a lot of nurses. They're showing a lot of like, and I'm like, that's what I'm more worried about, is that they're gonna, F up the subtlety or the like meaning of this stuff, like.
What do you think about that writing on the wall? Because that's something that people were picking apart, was like, it's like reap what you sow on the wall in that one quick shot.
Oh.
It's like, you're just going to basically come out and say.
Well, I mean, that's something I've been nervous about a lot in these new Silent Hill games, because like, I think for sure at least one of them, but maybe 2 or 3 different games in that Silent Hill showcase had characters say something to the extent or something similar to like, oh, we're being punished. Like, oh, we're here for being punished, and like, oh, we're guilty. Like, blah blah blah. And it's like, yo, yeah, you can't just say that. Like, that's the whole point. Is like, that's yeah, and like, yeah. So I mean, that just is furthering that, and that is exactly what I'm worried about. Blood is like, will they? Because, you know, shifting the camera down in combat, modernizing it in that way, like more over the shoulder, like RE4 style camera placement, you know, that's a more modern feel, and I understand that sort of a change. But, like, to me, the stuff that'll make me disappointed or mad is that kind of stuff, where it's like, okay, did you remove all subtlety? Because, like, the West...
I don't think anyone would realize, though, that's
right,
what
unless
that
you
means.
know.
That's never
If you know,
played.
you already know, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that is
they
a
don't-
tricky thing of.
That's
of
just
trying
like,
to-
yo, I'm punished and I'm like, you
Right,
know, I'm in a
right,
bad
right.
place.
But
Like, they don't know what the
Western
hell.
Silent Hills have not traded in subtlety historically. Yeah, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, as we were saying in our reactions about this game, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the combat trailer, so they're cutting between combat, and like the important thing to me, I think, is that, you know, most of these shots of combat, it's like, you know, 1 or 2 hits and it cuts to another encounter, and it's not showing him mowing down like 6 goons in a row, right?
Right.
Like, and he still feels like a little weighty, and he still feels like he's struggling, you know. And to me, that's the important stuff. And in a combat trailer with editing, like, obviously you're going to cut between combat encounters pretty quickly, because otherwise it would, you know, be a longer trailer, and they didn't have the time for that probably. So, yeah, I hope it's just a trailer giving a bad impression. Like, I hope the next trailer is more atmospheric.
Yeah.
It'll be a story trailer.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm optimistic cautiously. I think it's easy to compare this to like Resident Evil 2 remake. I think that's a really fair analog. And Resident Evil 2 is my favorite game ever made, so the stakes were higher than anything that had ever released for me. And you know, I know Capcom has maybe a little bit better track record than Konami and Bloober Team, but I went into that game knowing that the original will always be there, and this is going to be something different. And this trailer makes Silent Hill 2 look different.
Yeah.
Like, if you're expecting a 1-to-1 remake, I think, you know, that's a little weird, but...
And there's the Silent Hill Enhanced Edition on computer, which I always tell people about. You know, if you have the means...
Yeah.
Good mod there.
And elite skills to hack your way into that...
Totally.
Do it.
Yeah, like this is going to be, like, other than story beats, I assume, and even then, like, I assume this is going to be a pretty different game than the original Silent Hill 2. Like, Resident Evil Remake 2 is pretty different. Like, some of the main plot beats and the scenario is obviously the same, but, you know, they shake things up here and there, and obviously the perspective and all of that dramatically changes the feel of the game. So I'm just expecting... something different. I'm not going to let this overwrite the original, you know? Going in cautiously,
like they
but
literally
very clear-headed.
Yeah, they literally can't ruin Silent Hill 2 because Silent Hill 2 is still there.
Yeah, it is still there. And that's what matters. So,
Chat does bring up an interesting point that, like, enemies do seem a little faster and more agile. Like, nurses are mantling over rails as Matt
they're not just like shambling.
Yeah, and like that's pretty significantly different. Like, and that does imply that combat will be faster. Which again, maybe not a bad thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I still love Resident Evil 2 original the most. It's my favorite game, but the remake is freaking also a 10 out of 10. Like, you know, if this game is just at least good, I think I'll be really happy.
Yeah.
I really want them to really, like, I really want them to claim the title of survival horror puzzle masters, you know? Growing up, for my life, I was always like, yo, Resident Evil, way more like action-y, action style. Silent Hill, though, intimate puzzles, slower paced. Like, this game really needs to sell that aspect for this franchise. That's what I want.
It's the puzzles and it's the psychological elements,
Exactly.
right? Those are the cornerstones of Silent Hill.
Yes.
Besides the fog and the radio noise. You know?
Totally.
And like, yeah.
Like, take that title, Silent Hill. Definitively take it right now.
It'll be exciting to me because one of the interesting things of the Silent Hill series is that it has a puzzle diffientty separate from game difficulty, and I wonder if this one will.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, the two things that kind of stand out just from the trailer is the color palette is right.
Yeah,
you know, like just how desaturated it is outside in particular when you look at those streets and stuff.
Do we ask Don about the fog?
He's busy, but Don, did you see the fog in Silent Hill 2 remake? No.
We gotta show him the fog sometime.
Yeah.
But the other thing.
He said it was nice.
Nice.
It was nice.
Nice. They gotta fix that hair.
Dude, the hair looks so jank.
The hair lighting is what is going on. Like it just looks like the light is shining through his head and blasting out the other side. Like it's so weird. And I've seen that kind of thing in other games.
And like he is blonde.
Right.
Know? He is blonde, so
he's blonde, but he doesn't glow in the dark.
Also
Well, his face just looks so fucking different, dude. Like
I think this is going to be so compared to Remake 2, 3, 4, obviously, for good reason. I mean, Silent Hill and Resident Evil have always been, you know, friendly rivalry. Another way for them to really set themselves apart is the town. You know, we wanted Remake 3 to lean into exploring Raccoon City, and we did not get that. You know, Resident Evil really focuses on like really awesome singular locations, or then like going to another big location. Like I want the town of Silent Hill to just be so fun to explore. Like I really hope they nail that part.
Well, and that's an interesting element too, because, you know, that raises a few questions for me. Like, will there be multiple endings in this? Because, you know, getting a ritual ending, you have to pretty much explore that town and find like 6 artifacts and stuff all over the place. And like, I wonder if this game will be longer than the original.
Right.
Because, you know, if you know what you're doing, like I can beat Silent Hill 2 in a few hours, like 4 or 5 hours maybe. And like, you know, there's definitely room to expand in like town exploration. Yeah. You know, the apartment, the school, the hospital, or not the school, but
you had some walk in there. A few hours.
Silent Hill is not that big a town.
Damiani, you
in Damiani
for that RE4 remake? You have any interest in this?
You love survival horror third person.
But I don't have the personal attachment to Silent Hill, and I think what you're talking about, Huber, is most likely, I think, like what my gut says is going to happen, that this is going to be a little bit more different than what people are expecting.
Yeah.
And I do think they are looking too closely at Resident Evil Remake and, you know, 2, 3, 4, and are maybe, I mean, but that's the thing. This could be something much different, similar but very different, and have like a better reception from a larger group of people, which means like, oh, there's a new path forward for Silent Hill. They like this direction with it, but I could see that coming at the expense of, you know, people who prefer the vision and style and aesthetic and vibes of the original. So I mean, I don't think they're going to go too radically outside the box of the original, but I do see it might stray far enough out of the lines where some people are like, man, it wasn't quite what I was hoping for. And then if the Konami is like, this did really well, the reception was great from a lot of people, it sold very well, let's make more like this. And it's like, oh, you're not getting old school Silent Hill ever again. It's like, this is Silent Hill.
Well,
so that's... Yeah.
Hopefully with like how hard they're going on expanding the genre, which we're also about to get into, or expanding the franchise, I mean, hopefully, you know, I've always wanted, you know, Capcom to make a fixed camera Resident Evil game again. It's like I feel like there's an avenue there to just have like so many different types of games in the franchise. That's what, you know, Resident Evil really excels at, having third person, first person, co-op, VR, like, hopefully, you know, one of these weird Silent Hill games can like harken back to that old school style. But that it feels like that's really what the indie scene has been doing so much with survival horror, is like that old school 1990s style, fixed cameras. But yeah,
it is still really crazy to think that like we went so long without any kind of Silent Hill, and then they're just like, we're gonna greenlight 6 games right now.
Yeah,
like,
right.
well, excuse me.
Well, quote unquote games.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and transmedia properties or whatever. But up next, let's switch over to this Silent Hill: The Short Message, which was leaked before that big reveal, but then was not in the reveal
Yeah,
when they had
years ago.
that Silent Hill showcase.
Damn, these visuals are good. I installed this last night. I was playing Suicide Squad though.
Yeah, and then they shadow dropped it yesterday on PS5. And Isla, you streamed through the whole thing in about like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it took about a little over 2 hours.
Reminds me of the 7 demo already.
Oh, RE7?
Yeah.
Yeah. It we're showing for viewers, we're showing my stream from the other day right now. I played the whole thing. I will say I really liked it. It was
Nice.
dark as hell. Heavy
Great.
stuff. Content warning dealing with self-harm and suicide. So if that stuff bothers you, please don't play this game and talk to someone, But like it was very intense gameplay, very affecting story, and it is good. I think it's what I want from modern Silent Hill, which is psychological, and the first person perspective I think really kind of leans into that, where it's there are parts of this where you're being basically berated by bullies, and in first person, that's pretty effective. And like text messaging and all kinds of stuff. Shocking FMV usage in this game. It's got FMVs, which I did not see coming. Also, the other 2 girls are real people and you're CG. So if you're watching, you can see on the phone right now, like the other girl's an actor and our character is a CG girl, which, it's tough to tell, but you can tell. But yeah, it is a little over 2 hours, really dark. It has gameplay-wise, it's most similar to, and I'm not going to spoil anything more than I've already said about the story, but like, gameplay, I would say it's most similar to Shattered Memories, where there are, it becomes pretty clear pretty quickly when you're safe and when you're not, and there's no combat really. It's just running, and so like Shattered Memories, where you have a story segment which is creepy and really good, and the graphics in this are fantastic, the environment graphics anyway, and like. Then it switches to running mechanic sections.
Do we assume that this is a test to see if they're going to make a first-person Silent Hill game like this?
Yeah.
That's really what it feels like on the outside looking in. Like,
I mean, this feels a lot like, obviously this
prototype
is an echo of PT.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And we were also thinking that this is probably a tie-in to F, because there's a document you can find which kind of references a woman from a different time period than this.
Cool.
From Japan.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I think this is probably related to Silent Hill F.
Sweet.
Yeah, interesting. How were puzzles and stuff like that? Because PT's puzzles were pretty nuts.
So this one, there weren't a lot of puzzles in a classic Silent Hill sense.
Got it.
There was one part where I had to do a password, which is classic, and then there was like one part where there was one part where I had to find, different photographs while being chased. And that part was the most intense segment of the game. And, chat being there kind of helped, because they were like, you need to grab that, because like up to that point you just run. So I was just like running in a big circle for a long time.
That is a nasty bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, the game's graphics are really good.
For listeners on the stream, she walked into a bathroom. It looks like it's got a bathtub full of blood, or at least
Yeah.
syrup, maybe.
Saw that.
And then just roaches everywhere.
Yeah, it's it's very, 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 very heavy subject matter. They do a good job of
Yeah,
not.
actually, no one to look at this right now. It's a little tense.
No, yeah, and they do a good job of cutting away. They don't actually show some of the most, like some stuff when talking about self-harm, like they actually show it, which I think is pretty not great to do. This one is, they're dealing with it very, very directly. And, it's almost shown, but they don't go so far as to show it, which is nice. Like there is some jumping off of a building, and it fades to black, and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And the game starts, and several times throughout it has, here's the hotline, like if you're feeling things, call it, and that, like, I would definitely say if you've struggled with that, this game could either be cathartic or very challenging for that. Yeah. But the text messaging stuff had me thinking about The Missing, and yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. It's 2 hours. It's free. Go play it if you have a PS5.
Nice. Damiani, you have any questions, thoughts?
Covered it.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna play.
I mean, it seems like it. Yeah, you said like maybe this is something that leads to what they do in the future. I think they're just throwing out a lot of stuff right now and seeing kind of what sticks.
Right.
I did want to try to find some of the running B-roll here to show that element of the game.
Running. Oh yeah, there's some crazy monster here. Flower monster.
Apparently designed by the same person who designed Pyramid Head.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we will move on from the crazy, spooky depression to something much more jolly. Our patrons' top 10
Nice.
eating and drinking establishments.
Yeah. Here we go.
On our Discord every month, our patrons vote on these top 10s. They nominate things, and then they sort them out. And there's always a lot of ties. We've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things tied for 6th place.
Wow.
so that picks up a big portion of the top 10 is just everything at 6th.
Okay.
Before I go into what they've got here, is there anything you think should be potentially in that top 10?
The campsite in Final Fantasy 15.
Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Actually, let's see.
Well, yeah,
They do not have a campsite for 15.
Wow.
Ooh.
They have the Crow's Nest from 15, but that made it down in
Okay.
26th
Dude,
place.
the 15
Oh, the
disrespect
crow's
is
nest.
so powerful.
There's probably some kind of rule about it being like a building. It has to be like a place.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like an actual
So-
specific spot.
Is Seventh Heaven on there?
I was just going to say that next.
It is number
All right.
1.
There.
Number 1.
Number 1. Top
seems-
spot.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. The
That
chat
seems a little generous.
Chat is informing me that they have to be commercial establishments.
Okay.
Money has to be exchanged.
Money has to be
Great.
exchanged.
Great.
Great rule. Great guideline.
Where's Fortuna from Warframe?
From Warframe. I don't
No.
know.
Nobody
on the
eats in
list.
Warframe,
It
so
is
it's
not,
not.
it is
Yeah,
not.
it's not on there.
Oh, there's some good like Witcher Blood and Wine spots.
Yeah.
There's like one on a bridge when you get to Toussaint, and it's amazing. I forget the name of that place.
Witcher. I think this is the first Witcher. The Kingfisher Inn
Witcher
Mate.
1?
made it in 23rd. It just says The Witcher.
Badass. Love Witcher 1.
Dude, did Citizen Sleeper get in there?
Dude.
That what's his name? Emphas or
Oh
whatever?
my god.
Yes, it did. 28th place.
Well
Fuck
done.
Yeah, all right. All right.
The real
Redeemed.
winners ever voted for
Redeemed,
that.
dude.
Nice. Our top 10.
I always like the Yakitori spot in Yakuza.
Oh, let's see. We have 3 things for Yakuza.
Of course.
I'm not sure which one you're thinking. There is New Serena
Okay, yeah.
at 11th place.
That's more. Do they have food there?
Don't know. Club Sunshine
Great.
at 15th place.
Great.
And 4 Shine at 23rd place.
Sick.
Is the bar from Jedi Survivor in there?
Yes. Pyloon's Saloon, 6th place.
Ah, nice.
Made that top
one
10.
of the many 6th place.
Yeah.
Any saloons from Red Dead or the camp, Red Dead Redemption?
Red Dead Redemption 2, Smithfields.
Hell yeah.
And the Armadillo Saloon from
Hell
the first
yeah.
Red Dead at
Nice,
28th.
nice.
10 out of 10.
All right, what's that top 10?
God, them like them playing the music, getting in bar fights, even like eating, dude. The eating and like cooking some sausage or whatever is so fun. You like hold it over the fire.
In 6th place, we have Pyloon's Saloon from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. The Roost from Animal Crossing. Fantastic. I love that. Love that spot in both versions of the Roost. Smithfields in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Hell yeah.
The Stray Sheep in Catherine.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah.
Good one.
Shit. Cozy as shit.
The Wall Market Diner in Final Fantasy VII. Then we get to 5th place. Afterlife in Mass Effect.
yeah.
Mass Effect 2.
Hell yeah.
4th place, The Tub and Crown in Final Fantasy 16.
Oh.
Trying to remember where's this place.
Yeah.
Why am I not picturing this?
Isn't that where what's her
that's-
face is?
Yeah, it's not Martha. Is it Martha? The
is that
place
Martha's?
in the first zone? Yeah,
Yeah.
Martha's
What
Rest.
did you
Is that the
say?
name of
Yeah.
it, or is it,
Is that-
or is it
Yeah.
the one, or is it the one in the Empire? It's the Hideaway. Okay, it's the Hideaway.
The Hideaways.
It is the Hideout one. Okay,
Oh, okay.
Cool. Very cool.
there's multiple eating establishments. but
So cozy.
I forgot the name. So that's one where you could buy a round of drinks for everyone. Okay.
Love that.
Yeah. 2 tied for the 2nd spot. Cafe LeBlanc, Persona
I
5.
was just gonna say that.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Sojiro.
Yup.
And then the Canteen in Monster
hell
Hunter
yeah.
World.
Hell yeah.
Classic.
And then, yes, our number 1 was 7th Heaven. Some others. I'll
Great
go
list.
down. I'll go down and look through the 20. Afterlife in Cyberpunk 2077. Le Grand Bistro, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Funny
So
they're both
cozy.
called Afterlife. That's funny.
The Scum Bar in Monkey Island.
I don't know that one.
The Lumpy Pumpkin in Skyward Sword.
The Lumpy Pumpkin at that place.
The Morning Star Pub in Final Fantasy IX. The Asgard Mead Hall in God of War Ragnarok.
Classic.
Tom's Hot Dogs in Shenmue.
Tom's Hot Dogs, dude. Well done. Step forward and then kick. So sick.
Cluck and Bell in GTA San Andreas.
Classic.
The Milk Bar in Majora's Mask.
There
the
we go.
Deer
Milk
Diner
bar.
in Alan Wake.
Love the Oh Dear Diner. That would be like in my top 5.
And they had a bunch. They went up to 49, including all those ties and stuff.
Dude, the Oh Dear Diner.
So yeah, if you
What is
become
Coffee Talk?
Coffee Talk.
That's a video game.
Oh yeah, it's a whole game.
That was the name of the coffee shop across the river from my hometown.
Ah, okay,
Nice.
nice.
It's a Bonds game.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I've seen this game.
Yeah, so if you become a patron at $5 or more, you can get in that Discord. And February's top 10 is going to be the top 10 detectives.
Oh,
Oh, man.
Batman.
That's going to be good.
Yeah.
World's Greatest Detective.
And nominations are going to start on Valentine's Day. So
Valentine's Day for Valentine. Let's go. Fallout 4, dude. Hell yeah.
nice.
Love him.
We've got more to come, but if you've been enjoying this show so far, please take a second to like and subscribe and ring that bell on YouTube and leave a review if you're on those podcast apps. It helps us and it helps you stay connected. All right, Damiani.
Don't correct us.
We won't go too long on this since we got your review out there, but I do want to talk a little bit about Persona 3 Reload out this week. You got to play this. Persona 3 is your favorite in the series, if I'm correct. How does it live
That
up?
is correct. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I kind of expected it was going to live up to expectations. it's also very weird that they're now in a world where like no one version is necessarily like the definitive edition. It's more that we have 3 unique versions that are kind of, have their own, kind of like perks and, pros and cons. And it's,
Crazy.
Very tall ask, I think, for that. There is a rumor that the rumor mill right now is going nuts about whether or not that the extra content is coming, whether in the form of DLC or like a Royal Edition. It does seem like there are some statements from the developers that a Royal Edition is not happening because they wanted to move on to Persona 6 and not kind of like stay on this game for too much longer.
Right.
So I kind of think like the best case is it is like the DLC with like some of the stuff, and the one being tossed around is like the answer from FES, which is like the post-ending story content, which is kind of like a big deal.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure about if the female main character. So no, there's nothing post. It's the original and like ending point.
Got it.
And there is no, you only can play as the male protagonist. There is no female path, which had some slightly different social links. Those are not present in here. The characters are, but like not everything ends up being a social link, which was kind of the unique thing, because I do remember from Persona 3 Portable, maybe it's because I played through both characters back to back when that dropped last year. But I was like, yeah, when's this become a social link? Oh, it's not in this one, is it? I'm like, oh yeah. But it did do a good enough job, I think, of like mixing some things up. Like it doesn't reuse the same, has some same like classroom questions, but a lot of them are different. Hubert, so because I had this like early and there's no guide out there, I was trying to Google an answer. It was for like some graph problem. And they made it was like, so it was imagery. So there was like, you had to like visually know the stuff. So like Googling it would give you examples and like it was like a theory thing. I'm like, oh my God. Like it was the one time I wasn't sure and I got it wrong and I was like, oh my God. So there's a thing, there's a new rewind function. You can, without even saving, it basically is auto saving behind the scenes.
Jeez.
And when you bring up the rewind, you can go back to like a ton of different points in the past. But they do warn you, be careful about your saves, because rewinding does not save or anything like that. You have to like make sure you save where you want to save to like manually go back if you want to undo something, or you can rewind if you're confident. But yeah, I don't know what kind of questions you had, because they said, I kind of like put the review out there, like a lot of updates, looks very, I think it still looks very like great for what they did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Huber, you're saying this is one that you haven't gotten into.
Oh, I am 10 out of 10 hyped for this. I need to find time to play, because I got into Persona 4 with Golden, and then Persona 5 when it launched, and those became two of, I'm a hyperbolic human, but those are literally two of my favorite games ever made. No question. Like when those credits roll, it's just like special. They're special games. Like I don't throw that word around that often, but Persona feels like just such a special franchise. And I know 3 is talked about pretty often. Like had some gameplay issues with like Tartarus and stuff that they've fixed in subsequent episodes, but this feels like the perfect way to hop into Persona 3, and I can't wait. I'm definitely going to get through this before the year's over, 100%.
Yeah, Damiani, you were saying that it's been addressed to some degree, but it's still a little bit of a grind.
Yeah. Tartarus, like, it got a facelift is the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. Like, from a visual perspective, it looks more unique and interesting. But at the end of like some of the upper blocks, like the upper levels, while it's still like corridors, like some of them start like curving and like and then like what they're doing visually, like it actually is weird. It's like sort of at first, each new one, it's kind of like easy to get like disoriented for a little while. Mm-hmm. It's like, wait, how do I actually like, what is this, like a doorway supposed to be here? And like, oh, this thing will open up. It's like, oh, okay. But like after like 1 or 2 floors of that, it's like, all right, I know where to go. Like it's back to being like a corridor. So it's a dungeon crawl. It is a dungeon crawler. And what they're doing is, I think they massaged out a lot of like the more rigid parts of like encountering the enemies, the shadows on each floor. Mm-hmm. It was a very strict system. It was kind of a pain to like sneak up on them sometimes. When they were alerted, it was like, oh God, they move so fast. And like then there were these rare gold hand looking ones that would like run really fast away from you if you even alerted them when really hard. Now it's much easier to engage them as you want. And they give you a lot of like new mechanics throw in there. Like you have like a new dash ability where you can sprint and do kind of like this like leaping, like rising attack that will not only like increase the range of your attack to initiate a fight, but will put them in a debilitating state at the beginning of it. Not just like a back attack, but it's like more than that. And that's kind of like the name of the game with this version of Persona. They just threw in so many new features to the combat and exploration that it's just quality of life to death. And I like that because it makes things a lot easier. The combat system, they added the baton pass from 5 is in here. Yeah. So you can do that. If once you've discovered enemy's weakness, you can just hit the R1 button, and as long as someone in your party has that weakness to ability to exploit that, it will just like either shift to them, or if it's your turn, auto switch to your persona, because the main character can switch to any persona they have in their inventory or their lineup. They will just like bring it up with that, like their weakness. So like it's just like it's like one button for everything now. It's just so fast and snappy. So even though it's turn based, it feels like the pacing is much improved, much snappier, which is like one of the things I like about, some of the best turn-based systems out there. Like Final Fantasy X felt like that. Like you could keep things really going quickly in that if you knew what you were doing. And combined with the visuals and the aesthetic, it just like looks, again, we're talking about cool factor with Death Stranding 2. Like this game just looks cool as shit. Like so it's cool, these menus and shit, like the interface, it's just so damn stylized. It's like, and they keep doing awesome things with that. So yeah, they just added a lot on there. It might, Huber, this might be the thing that might slightly disappoint you as well.
It's hard to be disappointed with Persona.
It's out there, and I've seen some other opinions. The consensus seems to be it's a little bit on the easier side because of these new mechanics.
Okay.
And the difficulties, there's no like difficulty slider options. It's just like fixed presets. And apparently, like, none of them are too ridiculous. Even like the merciless one is only a little bit difficult in the early goings, and then once you get going, it's like because of these new mechanics. Basically, you have like a new super mechanic, Huber, and you could save it. You don't have to burn it right away. You can save it. So like me, I was saving, and I knew a boss was coming up. Because I already played the P3. I know when a boss is coming up. I just saved all my characters with supers ready to go. And opening set, I'm like super, and it's like, dude, you're like off to like this big head start, and it's like, all right. So if you're looking for that more like kind of tactical, really like you can be punished for like one wrong move chess style.
Yeah,
that's kind of not as. It's not as. I always thought it was a little too extreme.
Intense. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a little intense. So like to me, this was a good sweet spot. I cranked it up a few times, but when it came to bosses, I put it right back down on. I'm like, I feel good here. But like for remedial battles, let's crank it up. Keep me honest on some of these fights.
Yeah.
And you can change between them at any time, except for the hardest one. Once you pick the hardest one, if you downgrade from it, you are locked out from that forever on your playthrough.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like when the hardest difficulty has some unique thing to it, because like difficulty trophies have gone away. Like there's rarely incentive or reward for playing on the hardest difficulty, and I like when that stuff's there. Like have multiple options for multiple players, but like let that hardest top of the mountain like have some weight behind it and have some stakes. So I enjoy that. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't think there's any difficulty trophies for this. I know you're just like saying you wish there were more of that. But one thing you would like really like about this is why I can't wait for you to try this at some point is besides like, Persona, bonds, social links, all that stuff. I really like the ones in here. They added more stuff, so many more social activities. So they gave you more way. So basically, a lot of like the shortcomings of the previous versions were so easy to miss out on something.
Yeah,
it was like a little ridiculous. It was like point of no return stuff in JRPGs RPGs in general. It's like I didn't know about that, and I have to go back 60 hours to the start and replay if I want to get there. Obviously, rewind and stuff, massages that out, but. This thing, like there used to be these things. Specifically, there's an NPC who gives you requests that there are constantly being added requests as you progress through the calendar year. And one of them was find an item that only one in the old versions one single day, one single character was the only one who could give it to you if you talked to them. And if you missed that day, you failed that request. Now, as soon as you get that request, that person like has it. And like you can go, like you can chain it and stuff. I'm like, all right, maybe it was a little too extreme the other way, but like, you know what? They gave you so much more to do, Huber. There are so many more activities, so many ways to raise your stats. So many activities, more activities in the dorm now that are tied to like unlock like permanent stat, not just like the social stats like courage and academics, but like your persona stats, your character stats, like strength and stuff. You can like do stuff that like permanently increases that.
Love that.
And now you have like more. So there's more. Same FOMO is still there, man. Like even as many times as I played this game,
like,
I didn't max out every social link.
Yeah.
I didn't max out every social link. I was pissed. I was like, are you shitting me? I didn't do it. I was like, okay. Where did I go wrong? Like, okay.
Hang out with this person, the other person's like bummed out. I love that.
Yeah.
Is there coffee? Like, can you drink coffee?
There is the coffee shop. There's the coffee. It's I forget the name of it, but you can work part time there.
Perfect.
And you can also just like drink a cup of coffee there to
For
increase
MP
your
or whatever,
charm.
right? Yeah. Okay, sick.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And you could you get items. Dude. You can cook now, Huber, in the dorm, and you can brew tea and coffee with some of the characters. I can't wait for you to do that.
Coffee master.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Sick.
Can't wait, Damiani. Shit. Grand Blue's out also.
Yeah.
Still on like Yakuza, dude. This is too much right now.
And next up, I got to play a preview of Penny's Big Breakaway. And I don't know if you remember this from some of the trailers. This is from the Sonic Mania guys. Evening Star and Private Division is publishing this, and they're doing a 3D platformer now.
This is
their own IP.
I've got to address the elephant in the room. This is the most Kyle Bossman game possible. Just so we're aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so you're playing as this character who has a yo-yo. She's going to go there's this whole line in the B-roll here for listeners, for people that are like waiting to like perform to impress the Emperor, and she's going to impress them with her yo-yo tricks.
Awesome.
But in a back alley, Huber, you find this cosmic string, this mysterious cosmic string.
Back alley artifacts?
That brings your yo-yo to life and gives you all these extra powers. So that's why you can do this thing where you like it stops in the air and then you can swing across gaps, and that's why you can ride on it. And then it has this weird like mouth that comes out like it's a little puppy dog, and then so you can eat certain things to give it different powers and things like that.
Ooh.
And so the way that its controls work is kind of interesting, kind of unique, because you're using both of the sticks. So your left stick is to walk around, and then your right stick is to like shoot out the yo-yo. Mm-hmm. And so you can shoot it in different directions, and then you can twirl it around you in a circle. And then you have these penguins. The Emperor's penguins are chasing you, and if you get mobbed by like 5 penguins at once, then it's like you died and you go back to a checkpoint or whatever. But there's all kinds of like fun little mechanics and stuff that they do with the yo-yo. So like you saw like the zip lines that are in there. And you have these screws that you can kind of like swing around and like
some
go up and
Clank
down.
Vibes for sure.
Yeah. And then there's like I said, you can like actually ride on the yo-yo. Which is interesting because it's like it takes the terrain into effect, like the momentum of it. And you can cut grass with it, like Zelda. When you're riding, if you're fast enough, there's spots where you can like skim across the water, but you have to have like enough momentum to like cross that gap.
Is every level on the clock?
Yes. So that's the thing. That's kind of
stressing me out, dude.
Yeah, that's the thing that comes from Sonic. So it's not you have to beat it necessarily with a certain time, but it influences how many points you get at the end.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a Devil May Cry thing. It's like you get a higher rank based on all of these different things. So it's like if you find all the collectibles, there's like little side quests in there. So like you'll find people to be like, hey, I need to take this note to my boss. And so you grab the note and then you take the note to the other NGC or like collect a series of items for somebody, different little quests like that.
Cool.
And so like each level has like 3 collectibles and then 3 little quests in them. And then with the collectible nuts that you find, there are like bonus challenge levels, and they require like each one requires a certain number of those collectibles to open up. Yeah. But there's all kinds of.
I love extra challenge levels when you like put. Oh, that's one of my favorite things to have to collect when you unlock a bonus challenge level. It's so good.
Some of the controls can take some adjustment. So there's some things that I felt like I was fumbling around with a little bit. Like just kind of like that back and forth between like riding and then like hopping off and then trying to swing my thing. Some of the zip lines, something I hope that they sort of fix is that there'd be times where like I would grab onto a zip line and then I would get knocked off and then I would fall into the hole and then I would go back to wherever the last checkpoint was.
Yeah.
So hopefully they like smooth that out a little bit. You can get like these hammers. On screen, there's like this kind of like boss, like penguin ball Katamari like chasing you.
Sure.
And you got to outrun it, kind of Crash Bandicoot style. There is.
This looks delightful.
There's some of the different levels is like a more like the first level is kind of like a town with like a bunch of construction sites. The second world is more like beach themed. The third world is like like a mix of like a desert with like all of this like electrical circuits and stuff like that. There are these weird little. This is another thing that's a little bit finicky. I was trying to get controls of, but there's like these palm trees that you like pull back and then they like spring you forward. But they have like lots of these different ways to use the yo-yo. There's this burger ball thing that is kind of like a hammer that you can use multiple times. There are like these spinny things that were like you like spin up like you kind of like like this like those helicopter toys or whatever. They'll spin up in the air and then you float down.
Thank God we don't have one of those here.
Yeah.
And then there's a chili pepper, and when it eats the chili pepper, it like revs up like a hot rod, like it's kind of like a motorcycle with like big tailpipes sticking out of it. And with that, you can like roll across quicksand, and you can also like zip up and drive around on the walls and stuff like that. But yeah, lots of just different little ideas in every level that I've done so far. The preview build had they said we could go up through World 5. I just did the first 3 worlds. And then Damiani, because I know you didn't like the idea of the stick controls. So
yeah.
Because then the other thing is like your other buttons are like bumpers, but the face buttons you can always use as alternate. Like if you don't like doing the bumpers, it's just like if you're using the face buttons, you can't use those on the stick at the same time.
Got it.
There is
Jumper.
a different control mode that removes all the bumper stuff, just has the face buttons, and then rather than using the right stick to change the direction of your yo-yo, it just goes out in front of you. And you can use that right stick for some camera control, but it's not like full rotate around. It's just kind of like a tiny little shift to like look left and right and up and down. So when you release it, it just recenters behind you. So there's still basically like a structured like camera following you through you don't have full camera control. Most of the time though, I felt like the camera is in the right place. There are some points where it's like it's following me and I'm trying to like judge distance. And especially in the challenge levels, it was a little tricky.
And any kind of game like that with any kind of platforming involved, like you take away camera control from me, like I get annoyed. Like I'm not like a fan of that. Obviously, there's some like intentional challenge, and it sounds like this game is maybe trying to do a little bit of that. So, but usually for me, it's like a stage in Mario 3D World that like does weird camera perspective or something like that. Not the entirety of the game, but I mean it looks really cool and stuff. It's like paying attention to the footage and stuff this time and hearing your experience with it, they seem very creative and talented here, so hopefully this gets picked up by a few more people because we need more oddball, quirky 3D platformers for sure.
Definitely. And Sonic Mania is such a 10 out of 10.
And then the last boss fight I did was interesting because this guy had like a giant like sphere, like ball for his head, and you basically fight him on a big pool table. And so then like through the course of the fight, you like knock his head off and then you got to like hit it into one of the pockets and then it gets stuck into the pocket.
Nice.
And then he comes back with like 2 heads.
That's funny.
And so like, yeah, so you basically beat him when like all of his heads are stuck in the pool table.
Got it. Is
So.
it out yet?
No, I don't think it has a actual release date yet. It's early 2024.
Got it.
But it is coming to Switch, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. I was playing it on Steam version for the
Sweet.
preview build. But yeah, it's like I can see some of those influences there. Like one of the things that, like, with the comparisons to like Sonic, for instance, with that timer, it's sort of like you're making those choices when you play a level to like, do I want to explore and see like where the
Yeah.
little hidden levels are?
Take my time.
Or do I want to like try to string together a run to like as fast as possible? Yeah. And every time you beat a level, you also open up like a time attack version of that level too, if you want to go back and do those.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah. But aside from little influences here and there, one of the things I like is it doesn't really feel like a copy of anything else. It does feel like they're going
Yeah,
with
the
their own
yo-yo
idea.
for sure.
Yeah.
Sets it apart.
Yeah.
Cool.
Getting used to that momentum with the swing too. And like
Yeah.
it takes a minute to figure it out, but like when you do it, it can feel pretty good.
Yeah, nice. Yo, is this gonna be the year of traversal?
All right. Huber,
Yo.
bad news.
Oh no.
Deus Ex is canceled
I know.
again.
And more people are laid off.
Again.
It's insane, dude.
The train of Embracer layoffs continues, and this time, Embracer Group had bought Eidos Montreal from Square Enix, largely touting the fact that they would get Deus Ex. And now, after 2 years of work, that project has been canceled, and 97 people have been laid off. Embracer acquired Crystal Dynamics and Eidos from Square in May 2022. So it's likely that this rough 2 years estimate potentially means that Embracer greenlit the game. I don't know. Maybe they were working on it beforehand, but
Dude, has Embracer like manifested anything positive at all? Like, has anything come of their?
I mean, they've had
spree
tons of stuff,
purchases?
but yeah, it's still nuts.
Jeez.
What's weird is they're instead going to be moving their focus to an original franchise.
What?
So they have this big IP,
What?
but they're going to be working on a brand new franchise.
Who are the ad wizards that came up with that? No, seriously, who is running the show over there? That is
know.
insane.
Yeah.
For what reason are you canceling and destroying everything, firing everyone? Now you're going to start from scratch on a new thing? That doesn't make any sense, dude.
I don't know.
Usually that would come after you've like built up some goodwill and built up some, franchises from your back catalog.
But I
I don't
also
know.
don't know, like, whether, what the timeline on this original, like, are they starting this new franchise now, or is that, like, Team B was over there already working on this before Team A started, putting Deus Ex back together?
Yeah. I saw the Adam Jensen voice actor say he wasn't involved at all with
Right.
2
Well, they
years or
hadn't gotten to
whatever.
that part.
Yeah,
They hadn't
so-
gotten there. They were about to go into production, right? They're basically
Yeah.
doing pre-production work and figuring out story and
I
all
wonder
that
if it would have
stuff.
been Jensen or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which brings us to, before we get to that, actually.
Like, where does this franchise go from here? Will there ever be another Deus Ex ever again? I'm
Right.
nervous.
Right. Here's the
so
Eidos
nervous.
statement. For the last 17 years, our teams at Eidos have worked on some of the most beloved brands in the industry, combining deep storytelling and innovation into unique games. We've created memorable, multi-awarded experiences that we are proud of, and we know our team members have put their heart and soul in all of them. The global economic context, the challenges of our industry, and the comprehensive restructuring announced by Embracer have finally impacted our studio. The difficult decision has been made to let go of 97 people from development teams, administration, and support services. We are working to support all impacted personnel through this transition. These very talented, highly experienced people are entering the employment market, and we want them to find their next projects and are helping them to do so. As we navigate these difficult times, the well-being of our team is our priority, and the continuous commitment to creating games that players will be able to enjoy in the nearby future. To our players, It's oftentimes not just the games, but the game makers as well that we all celebrate and admire. Our commitment is always to making the best games for our amazing fans, and even with this restructuring change, we continue to fight on to deliver those awesome experiences for us to share together. Thank you for your continuing support and well wishes.
We see you and we hear you and we love you at us, Montreal. Straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a bummer. I mean, obviously, more people getting laid off. It just never ends. It's insane. So you have that part of it, which hurts every time. But then they seem passionate about that franchise. They were ready to, do another one. Who knows where that started? Like you were saying, if that was an Embracer decision to do it, or if they were thinking about doing another one. There's definitely a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
But there's just so much.
The rug pulled out for them.
Yeah.
Twice basically because, Square Enix
Mankind
basically
divided.
torpedoed
Exactly.
Mankind Divided.
And this franchise is too effing good for this to go down like this again. This is not right. The first one it still holds up to this day and is one of the most important, influential games ever made, full stop. The original. And then Human Revolution lived up to those heights. It's might not have been as revolutionary as the original, of course, but for the time when it came out, it was dude, this franchise is back. The sky's the limit where we can go from here. And then, like you said, Mankind Divided got cut short. It's a Phantom Pain situation where it's this should have been so much more than it was, but it got effed over because of, CEOs and shareholders.
Right. They wanted to make this almost like Assassin's Creed style, big, huge transmedia thing.
Yeah.
It's doing comics and all of this stuff.
Never got off the ground.
Apparently they did some whole short video thing that they spent tons of money on, but then nobody watched it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, with the game itself, first of all, it was supposed to be a much more expansive game. And
that game just
and they're no, put out part 1 now and then part 2 in 2 years or whatever on the same engine.
One of those situations.
And then it just didn't happen because that part 1 didn't make the money they thought it would.
Yeah. I'll never forget beating Mankind Divided. And I thought there was going to be a whole nother full-on town.
Right.
A whole nother city. And it's just credits. I was wait, what?
And what was there was insane. It was
my God,
so dense. There were so many different ways to approach things.
Yeah,
It really had the gameplay and the level design just at the top of the class.
Mm-hmm. Unbelievable for this franchise to be in as dire shape as it is because it is so good.
But stuff that probably still also went back to that management. How much money was wasted on Breach mode
Fucking Breach.
that nobody played? I remember I came to that kind of later, and was checking out Breach, and it was I got the trophy for completing the tutorial, and the percentage, I just remember nobody's playing this.
Yeah.
Nobody is playing Breach mode at all.
Yeah.
They had augment your pre-order. Remember that whole debacle?
Oh my God.
And so many people just noped out of that game. They went back on it. They didn't do it. But it was these things where it's there were different tiers of pre-ordering.
Yes. It
and
was
then
a
you
spreadsheet.
had to choose between, are you going to get the art book or are you going to get the soundtrack on tier 2? You only get one of them. And it was what?
Just crazy.
And then the other weird tacked on thing was they threw a bunch of microtransactions.
Yep.
And at the last minute that were not part of the game balance. And you could buy a skill point. But you could only use it one time. So if you play the game again, it's well, no, you buy. If you want to buy another skill point, you can buy another skill point. But that skill point you bought, it's just for that one time, that one save.
Insane, dude. Insane. Yeah, it's depressing.
And yeah,
I'm depressed.
Like you said, it's hard to say what the future would have been, even with this game, because the lead writer, Mary DeMarle, she had already moved on to BioWare. Mm-hmm. Lead visual designer, it's French name, I don't remember exactly, JJ something. He's moved on and he's got his own company. They're working on something, and so a lot of those guys that really were influential in where those 2 games were, and where that franchise was going. Those leads had moved on. But now 97 more people are gone. So
Before the end times of Embracer destroying the entire gaming industry, there was so much hope that we would get like a new one to finish off Jensen's story and then a remake of the original.
Right.
I think the maybe like Night Dive. See, I don't even know.
that kind of thing could still happen.
Yeah.
Though, they've got a bunch of teams that, Aspire and all those guys,
Yeah.
that they've got doing different things.
Yeah.
Like that they could quote unquote keep the franchise alive.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the money was
Yeah.
not there for this project. And who knows what the new original IP is.
It's just such a window into that, that side of this, because it's like you have this big legendary franchise. Like this should make you money.
Yeah.
This should be not necessarily a slam dunk because it's still, Mankind Divided was a while ago. There's more gamers now than there ever were. Like if a new one came out now, I think it would be the highest selling game in the franchise easily. But it's still maybe a little niche. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's
Well,
always...
we see with, Dishonored and all that.
Yeah.
Like the immersive sims are kind of a hard
Yeah,
sell.
it is. And they're so ambitious. The budgets have to be definitely high, I would assume. But yeah, it's interesting to see them not follow through and try just their own weird new IP. It's an interesting thing that I wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Because you have this established brand that people are invested in, and you can easily bring new people in to get invested. I mean, look at Like a Dragon and Yakuza, clear example. You have this franchise that people are invested in, and you're just getting more people in. So I don't know what's gonna happen, Blood. I'm nervous. It honestly feels like it's a Shenmue situation right now with this franchise. Like we may never see another one again.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as Embracer has the rights. Grief.
Or the other thing is we'll see some weird half-baked from somebody else down the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny because, like, I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but, like, they said by December 31st, RE4 Remake had sold, like, 6.5 million copies.
6.8, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's... Or 6.48 million units, yeah. Like, that's not that... Like, I always think that is going to sell more than it does, and I hear Resident Evil sales numbers, and I'm like, oh, it's more niche than I thought, Like, obviously 6 million is a lot, but...
Yeah, when we went over the top selling games of the year, and number like 6 or 7 of the entire year, of which there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games that come out, number 6 was what, like 6 million copies or something. It was like, wow, you're the number 6 selling game of the entire year, and you're selling like 6 mil? Like, I thought, yeah, I thought it would be more.
Well, and like if you multiply that by 70 or whatever, that's like $400 million or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if the budget is 200 million.
Yeah.
And you have to market it.
Yep.
Like that game's only making, 100 million. If game marketing budgets work the way film marketing budgets are,
Yeah.
that doesn't break even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think, again, what we were talking about, what Square Enix did, like, it was a lot of that. It was like a lot of fumbling on the marketing side where
Yep.
it's like, we're going to put way more budget into this. We're going to market it like crazy. And then we're going to put things out there that people are just like, they're not going to get over. Like, there are a lot of people that just didn't even give that game a chance because of
100%. Mankind
Yeah.
Divided was almost dead on arrival, which is insane considering Human Revolution is beloved.
Yeah.
Incredible game. And Mankind Divided, visually and story and gameplay looked awesome. It was just all that extra BS around it.
Well, and it's just like, the reason I brought up RE4 is like, that's one of the most beloved games in the whole world, from my perspective,
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, if that only sold 6 million, like,
Totally.
how many has Deus Ex ever sold at all? Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure the numbers are out there, but I don't know the top of my head. Also this week,
Hopefully you snatch up all those 97 employees somewhere.
Yeah.
Hopefully they land on their feet.
yeah. Also this week, we'll start off with the other set of layoffs that I know about. Nimble Giant Entertainment, another Embracer company in Argentina, lost 28 staff.
Great.
Sega of America is laying off 61 staff, but apparently their union was able to negotiate to save 18 positions. Polish devs, Artificer, laid off 25 with another 10 to 12 to go when their current project wraps up. That must be fun. go into work
Yeah,
and work
yeah.
on this game, and when you're done, thanks.
Yeah.
Deus Ex Mankind Divided sold 12 million?
As of May 2022, according to Wikipedia. So consider the source. But
Okay.
That is insane.
Yeah, that sounds... But
that
in
includes
its Square...
the director's cut and all the other versions.
Yeah, that's probably past when they considered it was not successful, but...
Oh, and Human Revolution. So I guess
Oh,
it's Deus
both
Ex
okay.
entirely.
Combined.
Got
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Deus Ex, all of it is like 12 million, roughly.
So good. God.
GameSpot has laid off staff, but we don't know how many. At least at the time of my recording and trying to like get information. Quote, a fandom representative told GamesIndustry.biz that the company would not be providing a statement. So, okay.
Cool.
Last round of GameSpot layoffs was
What?
just over a year ago. So they're hurting. Airship
Scary.
Syndicate has reportedly laid off 12, but according to Polygon's Nicole Carpenter, president and CEO are also taking pay cuts over there. So they're trying to mitigate the damage as much as they can.
Okay.
Part of, I think, the reason that happened is they are working on Wayfinder, and now they're having to self-publish that because Digital Extremes backed out.
Okay.
They don't have the publisher anymore.
Wow.
On the brighter side,
Yes, please.
some devs from Volition, that Embracer, remember, closed them out.
yeah.
They were laid off 5 months ago. They have now formed Shapeshifter Games.
There it is.
And they will be working as co-developers on InXile's Clockwork Revolution.
Cool.
Studio head Matt Madigan said, "Our goal is to grow and assist developers and publishers by providing a sustainable workforce model. It has been great reconnecting with former colleagues and a great opportunity to help others who have been affected by the industry."
Good vibes.
Yeah.
That's an
Great.
interesting like model, and
Yeah.
and the name fits. Like their whole thing is just go around supporting other people. Like gun
Support
for hire,
class.
dude. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Support class. That's neat.
I mean, that works. Like Rocket League guys, they were doing that.
Yeah,
And then eventually, like, they had their pet project on the side and it blew up.
that's neat.
Day of the Devs is now an official nonprofit organization. They basically decided if it's not making money, why not make it a nonprofit? So they can continue providing their showcases for people to come check out indie games. So they have a fundraising campaign now on Fundraise Up if you're interested in checking that out. And they're going to be doing, three main events around three main time periods around GDC, Summer Game Fest, and the Game Awards. So kind of similar to what they were doing the past couple of years, but like, more structured. Like, this is what you can look forward to us
Yeah.
doing. So
Nice.
cool stuff. We had fun at the
Yeah,
Game
I
Awards
loved the Day of the Devs thing. I was also talking to a lot of the devs that were there, showing their stuff, and like they were saying how nice it was. Like they were provided the hardware and stuff, and yeah, I don't know. It's a cool organization.
Yeah. And apparently was not an organization before now.
Right, yeah.
Devolver Digital, roll this. They teased that they were going to announce a new game, and it was revealed today. Children of the Sun. This game is a little freaky to me.
It's like sick already.
Mechanically, it's crazy. Story-wise, it's a little intense. You are on a mission to destroy the cult who ruined your life.
Hell yeah.
The girl can only fire a single bullet per level,
Whoa.
but this solitary projectile can be re-aimed on impact,
Dude, the magic bullet.
curved
JFK.
around obstacles, smashed through armor, and used to perform other acts of gravity-defying ballistic trickery.
Wow.
One shot is all you need. Children of the Sun combines
Sick.
sniping,
This looks awesome.
stealth, and puzzle solving, rewarding
this seems
speed,
cool.
efficiency, and accuracy as the girl takes on the nefarious forces of the cult and hunts for her nemesis, the mysterious leader.
Dude. Sign me up. Put me on the list. When is this out? Play the demo.
Demo's out right now,
Crazy.
Huber.
Okay.
So,
I don't usually play demos. I always think I'm going to play a demo, and then I'm like, I'm good. I'll just wait.
show this image here. Our Zets, our CDI spiritual successor, to the Zelda CDI
Damiani's
games.
pumped.
The physical edition is now you now have the option of getting CDI controllers.
That rules.
That work on PC and Switch.
Retro-inspired controller.
That's fantastic.
Guess I can't see CDI.
Right. But I mean, like the logo even looks like the limited run logo. Looks
Yeah, like the
CDI
font
logo.
is even like,
That's
it
super
is
cool.
hilarious. It's really good.
For listeners, this thing is a nightmare to look at. It's one of it's on like a lot of lists. It's one of the worst controllers, right, Damiani? Like,
I mean, it's just, I think I don't have the original one anymore. Mine even looked more like a traditional remote than that. Like that already looks like remote control. The one I had was more like rectangular too.
Yeah.
But it had like the curved part at the top. But they did have normal controllers for CDI. So,
yeah, for listeners, if you haven't seen
but-
this thing before, look it up. But it's like it's got this weird circular thing at the top with like a rocker in the middle, and then 3 buttons on the outside, and then just like 6 little squishy little things underneath of it. It's just
looks like an old sleep mattress adjusting thing. Those moving things.
Sleep
Yeah.
Number for sure.
Yo, I like because it's creator intent. Guide Arzette on her grand adventure the way the developer intended.
We have to get this.
With a retro-styled Switch controller. That's funny.
We have to get this.
I mean, I think you have
Creators
to like
intent.
get in pre-orders. Like they're
Have them
get that pre-order tomorrow
Email
because
them.
otherwise it's not happening.
email them. Get us in. We'll
Yeah, this
stream
is-
it. Tell
this
them we're
thing's
gonna
selling
stream
out.
it, and we need that controller.
Someone's going to beat Elden Ring with this thing.
Oh, for sure. Oh
Yes.
my god.
For sure.
That's right, because if is it for Switch? Yeah, so if it's for Switch, then it means
And
it'll probably
PC.
work on Switch Successor, which means Elden Ring is going to come to Switch Successor, so you'll be able to beat
Yes.
Elden Ring with
It
that.
does work on PC
and it's on
too.
PC,
Yeah.
which is.
There's a PC.
I want to see it beat it on Switch.
Yeah.
PC 2, what? What?
When was that announced?
Oh.
I didn't even know there was a PC 1.
Unfortunately, Spec Ops: The Line is being delisted.
Still on GOG.
Oh yeah.
Still on
They
GOG.
say from all online storefronts.
Somebody
so
was saying it was still on GOG recently.
for now.
For now, yo,
This is due to
play this effing game.
longer.
licenses. Licenses are expiring.
Public service announcement. This
Chad says it is no longer on GOG.
Oh, it's not. Uh-oh.
Yep. The Reaper came for GOG.
Too late.
Yep. You can still
my
download if
God.
you already own it, but you can't buy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but now it's
Yeah.
Well, you better own it.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a game. It's another prime example of swimming in sevens where there's a lot that is just fine about Spec Ops: The Line, but it takes some really big swings and they land.
Yeah.
Really awesome, unique game. Really freaking cool.
In a French interview with Julien Chier, Yoshinori Kitase reconfirmed that a lot of internal staff are interested in doing a Final Fantasy VI remake. However, he suspects that project could take twice as long as Final Fantasy VII, which has taken up to 10 years just for now for Rebirth.
Gosh.
So he's saying it would take 20 years plus to make a Final
No.
Fantasy VI remake.
Nope. Yeah, I know you love that game, Blood, but Final Fantasy X is going to be the next one to get a full-blown remake like 7. If they're
Well,
going by
9 is,
sales
like,
numbers,
sipping
it's
the
7.
wings.
That's the rumor from the leak. I think 9's getting a something in between, like a big visual overhaul would be my guess.
Yeah, that's
But
what
I think
and new voice lines.
yeah, the resources for something huge is going to go to 10 because it's 7's the best selling, then 10, and it's like what their CEO is saying they're playing safer. Yeah,
I believe you,
so
Damiani. I
6.
think
I know
you're right.
people critically 6 is very well received. It's sales wise and popularity wise, it trails behind a number of Final Fantasy, especially in Japan as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to have a group of developers being the lead for pushing for that.
Yeah.
So that okay, Blood. That is important. I'll give you your hopium. It is the developer-led passion projects. There tend to be the ones that get off the ground, though. But because this is Final Fantasy VI, I don't think this is like some small forgotten title that was left to the wayside in Square
Right.
Enix's like library of IPs. This is like a big time thing. So that would be like the one thing that kind of like swats down that like precedent, I would say.
Yeah. You're talking about the number of characters, too. There's a lot of characters in that game. To celebrate Celeste's 6th anniversary, this is a cool thing.
Yeah, this is cool.
They released
I played
Celeste
this.
64 Fragments of the Mountain.
Cool.
Yeah,
Oh, Celeste is so great.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a short
It was
little
fun.
3D platformer that you can get on itch.io for free, and they made it in about a week.
Heck yeah.
Just threw that thing together.
Itch.io rules.
Thanks for that.
Chuck
It
them
was
a
nice.
buck or two, you know?
Back to Square Enix, Tokyo RPG Factory, makers of I Am Setsuna, Lost Sphere, and Oninaki, is being dissolved, and the staff is being reabsorbed back into Square Enix proper, similar to Luminous.
Yep. So they're not laid off, Uber. They're still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This seems like a bummer, but also at least they're not laid off. And it feels like the right move. I feel like all those games were like swimming.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
none of them really hit for me.
Yeah,
Like, they're
same.
all like, I wish this was
Yeah,
a little bit better.
100%.
Yep.
100%.
And if they are refocusing, like they said, like this makes sense.
Yeah, they want a few fewer mid-tier games.
yeah.
They will. Yeah, I imagine they'll end up like under Team Asano or something like that because I feel like there's a little bit more overlap between those types of those projects, those mid-level projects.
Yeah.
Yep. And we'll roll a little bit of this, but it was so stacked this week I couldn't get into it. We finally got gameplay for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Remember, they switched developers to Chinese Room.
Yeah.
We're like, what are they doing? They said they rebuilt the thing from the ground up.
Yeah.
We got about 15 minutes of gameplay, and then they spent
15
another
minutes?
15 minutes explaining
15
it.
minutes.
The thing about this, Huber, it appears to be uncut. Like, maybe they sliced some things in here and there real quick, but it's just a straight shot at gameplay with no commentary or anything.
Great.
And then they do the commentary after. Isla, you watched this too, right?
Yes, I did.
Good atmosphere.
I took notes. I can get through them real quick here. They played as a Bruja, which is like one of the vampire clans. They're more of a brawler. So you'll see in the gameplay.
A lot of
that
punching.
It's a lot of punching. There's a cool like Deadeye kind of thing where you line up a bunch of punches and then she'll do like punch in a bunch in a row, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so what it has me excited about this game is that we play as an elder vampire named Fire, which is cool. You become a sheriff for the like kind of ruling vampire class, you know, and so you're kind of an enforcer. So people kind of respect you. Your name is Fire. You're also sort of a legendary vampire. Like people have heard of you, even if they haven't met you.
This guy's the best.
Yeah, he's a big freako. The game looks good. They talked about different kinds of styles of gameplay and like trying to vary the missions up
Immersive
with
sim.
stalking and stealth and brawling and vampire detective stuff. It's cool, you know. In this gameplay footage, there's lots of detective vision, vampire vision. It's called Heightened Senses. It's based on in tabletop RPG, it's called Auspex. But since you're an elder vampire, you can use it all the time, which I think is cool. And yeah, there's dialogue trees, of course. You can lean into. That's sort of how they're fleshing out your backstory. Is like, the backstory is you can kind of shape it because people will say what they've heard about you, and then you can kind of, you know, accept or deny that. Which sort of frames how your
That's neat. That's cool.
like past was without having you like pick a background at the start of the game or whatever. There's a voice in your head called Fabian, who's another vampire, but you don't know why they're there.
Yeah.
You were in like a hibernation torpor thing for 100 years, and you went to sleep in a different country and woke up in Seattle.
Yeah.
And so you're like, what the hell's going on?
Walking Dead situation.
Yeah.
Charles Dixon.
There's feeding is an important thing. There's combat feeding and social feeding. Combat feeding heals you a little bit and refills your abilities. You can use it strategically to string your abilities together.
Yeah, there's a little pips down there in the corner if you're looking at the B-roll.
Yeah, and later they had in this footage, they had, I'll skip ahead here, they had mannequins that you fight in this weird, like, kind of psycho, illusory vision thing. Autoerotica. And the thing with that is they're made out of wood, so you can't feed on them. So that's sort of a strategic thing that they did. Here's that punching special effect for viewers.
Yeah, Deadeye, you're right.
Yeah, it's probably not optimized yet. It did look a little framey.
Yeah, it did.
And like I'm a huge fan of Bloodlines 1, so I'm very, very optimistic about this. And I really like the Chinese room. Like several of their titles I really liked. A couple of them were misses for me, but generally, I respect what they do. So yeah, I'm excited for this. You can't play as a Malkavian, but they did kind of drop in this that one of the main bad guys is a Malkavian. So if you're familiar with Vampire, that will be kind of fun. Yeah, I don't know. It looks cool. This level, what I liked about this is that it gets weird and creepy, which reminds me of the hotel segment from Bloodlines, which I really like. It's one of my favorite levels in a game. So yeah, I don't know. It's looking promising, and yeah, this is the first extended look at gameplay we've had. And besides the framiness, and that stuff, it's early days, and that can be optimized. So I honestly kind of like that they showed it in an unpolished state like that, because it's sort of honest,
Yeah.
Like it kind of looked like very real gameplay, warts and all. So
that's what I was saying. Just the fact that they just let it run for 15 minutes. Yeah.
And they said like in the Q&A after, it's like obviously this person knows what they're supposed to do, but like gamers will have to kind of figure their way through this part. It's sort of a boss puzzle kind of a thing. But yeah, I don't know. Looks cool. I'm excited. And it seems like they know what people liked about Bloodlines 1, and they're trying to put it in 2. So yeah.
Sick. All right. It's time for Love and Respect. Love and Respect.
Love and respect.
From Adam Fay. Hey, allies. Instead of harping on the worries of how Suicide Squad will shape out, I want to try and have a more optimistic take. It's clear that they are still a talented team who maybe didn't get to make the exact game they wanted to, and I'd still love to see a more tight and focused DC game from them in the future. Based on what you've seen or played, what are some positive aspects of the game that you think Rocksteady should try and use in future games? Mechanics, story elements, presentation, etc. We talked about some of that, but yeah.
Yeah, traversal
Yeah.
is really good. The world looks amazing, but it's unfortunate there's no reason to stop and take a knee. There just isn't. You're just running through, swinging through, flying through. So the world itself is great, but unlike Arkham City and Arkham Knight, there's just no reason whatsoever to stop and explore at all.
That's so weird.
Yeah. But everything looks so good. And yeah, traversal, like they nail it. And like they did that with Arkham City when you could glide and you fly down and glide, and all 4 of these characters just handled differently and really well. So definitely that. Story. I mean, the Arkham games have great stories, except for the Arkham Knight themselves.
Yeah. I mean, their character writing and performances and everything are just, they're still top notch.
Yeah.
It's just this weird thing of like, it's this weird thing because it's like I kind of like am turned off by the concept of fighting the Justice League and trying to kill the Justice League to begin with, but at the same time,
I think it's cool being on the other side.
There's
of
enough like it's interesting. The mystery of it and the dynamics of these characters are enough to still kind of keep me pulled into that.
Growing up as a kid, Blood, I was always rooting for the villains. So like this is a cool.
I'll just see if I can hang with those boss fights and stuff that you're talking about, man. Because I haven't not gotten far enough into it.
They're rough.
Yeah.
They're fine TM.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to see the end game and like the battle pass and the seasonal stuff. I want to see how they handle all that, because that is such a huge part of any game like this is the post-launch support. Avengers stumbled because
that took so long for anything
just
to
took
come out.
So
long. Yeah.
And it always takes so long, with seasons and stuff. I mean, even Diablo, it's like you have a season and it just goes on and on. And I haven't even played this new season, but I heard now this season is a step back. And like Destiny also, like,
Yeah.
just weeks go on and on.
I'm
It's like, okay,
hopeful that they
grind.
can keep to this like once a month schedule like they were talking about.
Yeah, it's like the combat better be a freaking 10 out of 10 if you're going to have me grind the same type of encounters over and over to get a new piece of gear. Like, the reason that works in Destiny is because the combat in Destiny is amazing. And it still wears people out. Even the most dedicated hardcore Destiny fans get worn down to the bone. But they keep coming back because the combat is so amazing.
Yeah.
The combat is not amazing in Suicide Squad.
no.
So the story stuff is going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting to keep people on the hook.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm curious how that's gonna work. Why am I gonna care about this other Joker and whoever else they pull in?
Yeah, the multiverse stuff. Yeah. But again, the presentation, they wanted the positives, the presentation and the traversal and the world itself is all really good. It's all really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Harrison Holt McHale. Hey allies, this week avowed game director Carrie Patel told Eurogamer that the game would not feature romance options, citing that in order to do romance options well, it
Death
required
sentence in
a lot
2024.
of effort. And additionally, it is difficult to balance the work going into romance options with that outside of it. It is a significant challenge to write a campaign featuring narratively woven companions, which is equally fulfilling regardless of the relationship choices of the player.
Baldur's Gate 3.
So don't make don't do the thing you're doing then if it's hard and you don't want to do it.
Well, they're not doing it.
That's what they said. They're
I
not-
mean, I guess.
Yeah. Personally, I welcome the variety in RPG space, and it's great to hear a development studio give themselves a hard scope for their game, but it is also difficult to argue with the reception of these mechanics. I struggle to think of highly successful Western RPGs in the last decade or so that don't feature some sort of romance mechanic. Many would attribute Baldur's Gate 3's recent and vast commercial success in part to its commitment to weird and wonderful romances that the player can engage with, especially among more casual players who don't usually play RPGs. Curious to hear the panel's thoughts on romance options in RPGs. Is it important enough to pursue? What are some examples of romance done well, done badly, and how you might like to see romance mechanics evolve and innovate over the coming years?
I talked about this a little bit at Godey's. I like romance options when it's like a defined character. So like Geralt in The Witcher or Chloe or Max in Life is Strange. When I create a character, I never really engage with it because it just feels weird. Like romance is two sides. I just find it weird to like press buttons, now you like me kind of thing. That's my own personal weird issue. I'm not,
Right.
judging anyone at all. Like I wish I was into it more because it's like the ultimate bond is a
Right.
relationship. It's the number one bond. But yeah, just with created characters, it just never feels rewarding and fulfilling for me. It feels one-sided. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on.
I love.
There we go.
I like romance in games. I hear where you're coming from, Hubert. It's interesting because for me, like character created or player created characters are my favorite kinds of games. It's the kind of games where I most get into the games.
Yeah.
Because like when I'm playing a game, generally, obviously not always, but like if I'm playing a game that you're some person, for me usually like a dude. It happens more when it's a dude, but like. I'm like, well, that ain't me. What am I doing here? I'm not playing this. This is, I'm not doing that. That's Alan Wake doing that. Like, your money's in Fred's house and Alan Wake's house. But yeah. So for me, like, it hits different. Like romance where you created a character is it feels, I IRP it more where it's like, oh, I'm doing this, like this is my cyberpunk version of this person doing this, So I enjoy that kind of stuff. But I fully like in games like, True Colors or whatever. It's like that's a different kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's like totally. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me that because like, and the news cycles are so interesting with Avowed because I've seen like 5 headlines of things that Avowed isn't doing lately. Where
Yeah,
it's
what
like,
the
oh, we only have
heck?
2. We only give you the option of 2 player character races because it's first person. And it's like, I think people are just kind of framing it in this way, but it's like, I'm hearing about all the things that Avowed isn't doing instead of all the things that it is.
Yeah, headlines are weird right now.
Yeah, it's strange, but
Clickbait era.
yeah.
For sure.
Done been in that era for 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I don't know. Romance is cool.
What do you think, Damiani?
I mean, I generally find it like it's kind of gratifying to have romance options. It's, you know, it's kind of like helps develop a character out. You see more sides of a character, whether it is like a crafted character by the developer, the writing team, or character created. I do tend to like not be as interested in romance options when it's my own create a character, but at the same time, like as long as the other character is like defined, I tend to like be like, okay, I can see this. I'm interested in that as well. But also like I don't necessarily like I see why they're in there. Like a lot of people are drawn to them for various reasons. But like I would not be upset personally if like some of my like favorite upcoming RPGs like, yeah, there's no romance in this at all. But I would think it'd be a little bit crazy. I mean, shipping arguments for like predefined characters in games like through the decades, you know, like fandoms getting like riled up over that. Like it's always like something that they get passionate about. And then, you know, I would never want to take away like the player authority that you have when you're making your decision making with a creative character. It's like I would like to, you know, have that. So I don't know. That's not the most elegant answer, but like I'm glad it exists. I do find it appealing sometimes when I come across it, but in general, I don't personally would not lament if it just like wasn't even present. Like it's like, okay, I generally am drawn to more of the game aspects of a game than the narrative aspects of a game when it comes down to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, like a lot of it comes down to how rigid they can feel sometimes, where it just feels like a point-to-point quest line.
100%. Pick this option.
Right.
Pick this one also.
And
okay, you guys are together.
And it doesn't feel like as much of a relationship, right? And I had these weird issues, particularly like with Mass Effect 2 and stuff, where it's like, I'm just trying to talk to this person and get to know them, and then all of a sudden we're like switching over to like another level of conversation. I'm like, wait, no, I'm just trying to be your friend. This is not where I was going with this.
Blood friend zone.
Like, what's happening? But then like I was saying, it's like the fact that like a lot of the times it's like this weird thing of like, oh, you did it. You accomplished it. It's like you got together this person and you slept together, and now they were just repeat the same dialogue over and over every time you talk to them from the rest of the game.
Yeah, then the relationship just stops in most games.
Yeah, and it's so weird. And like even I feel like I even had that experience with Cyberpunk. Like
not Witcher 3.
I had a great
best.
Yeah, no,
payoffs.
I'm just getting to that. But with Cyberpunk, like with Pan Am, like there were actually some like great moments I was really appreciating. I was like, hey, you don't have to sleep together at this point or whatever. Like you can just chill and hang out and just be together. And then you get to the end of our quest line, and that's sort of it. We don't talk to each other that much anymore. And they're like, oh, okay. Whereas, like you're saying, like with Witcher, like with Yennefer, like, yeah, there were sex scenes and stuff with Yennefer, but like she is there. She is a presence throughout that game. They communicate so well, like with just nonverbal contact and stuff like that. And it's just, you know, and
because like Triss is like in all of the games, so you have like more of a connection if you're just a game player. Cause, like,
right, yeah, you have that dynamic of like who do you
there's other characters
have more?
Also that just like have a really good vibe with Geralt. Like he's good.
It's funny because I think that like in my playthrough anyway, I know everyone has really different experiences with Baldur's Gate, but like my playthrough, the romances all felt pretty natural, felt pretty good. I did find myself wanting. Like, games don't do this ever really well. I haven't really seen a game where the player has the option for this, because it's like, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm gay in real life. And, like, there was a moment where I was hanging out with Will in Baldur's Gate, and we were, like, dancing, you know, and this stuff. And, like, he leaned in for a kiss, kind of, and I, you know, the only option I had was to, like, say, yo, hey, nah, you know. But like in real life, when a guy, you know, is like coming on to me or whatever, I would just say like, "Oh, I'm gay." So, you know, sorry. You know, it's not your it's not your fault, you know. And I kind of wished I could do that in the game too, where it's like, 'cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, it's an explanation.
Yeah, I mean that's the same thing kind of I was saying with like the rigidity of it. It was like,
Yeah.
oh,
That's a perfect word for it, bud.
yeah, because it's
And
like,
that
oh,
really sums it
I don't
up.
want to kiss you right. Like we've even had some of those moments in some of
Yeah.
the games we played together. Where it's like this doesn't
Blood
feel
is
like a time
famously
these characters should
anti-kiss.
kiss.
Yeah.
Blood will not allow kissing in any of our group playthroughs. I am scandalized to this day.
Like, it comes out of nowhere. Like yeah,
The adrenaline is pumping, blood.
and then it's like, but that's the thing though. It's like it's either like all in or all out.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's like you
it's
can't
a
just like
one-
I don't want to kiss you right now.
It's a
like nope,
one-time
you're never
choice.
talking to me again.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
a one-time thing. It's like either we bang right now on the cobblestones of this fucking church, or we never speak again. And it's like, well, how about we get to know each other better?
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fun question.
kissless any percent. Bro, that's funny.
But I do think Harrison's right that like yeah, that's a huge part of why that game is so successful and so many people are talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bear sex.
Yeah.
I mean,
Huge headline.
but all of the companions that you can have.
Yeah.
And I
bear
mean, like,
sex.
you know,
Was
obviously
huge.
different experiences with different characters. Like, because some people have like, you know, horny runs, and some people have celibate runs, whether they want it to be or not in Baldur's Gate. But like the way that they handle the language around like sex and love in that game, I think is very, very well done. And like other games should kind of take a page from that. Like, you have conversations about consent in that game, and that's really good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
From Super Sushi, greetings allies. I finally gotten around to playing the Dead Space remake,
Nice.
and I'm completely in love with the plasma cutter.
Hell
again.
yeah.
One of the most iconic
Fucking so good.
weapons.
For me, it completely overshadows every other
It does.
weapon
Oh, for sure.
in
To
the
a-
game.
honestly,
Sure.
to a detriment.
To a
detriment.
insane degree.
It's the only gun.
It's the only gun.
Yeah.
My question.
Even in the OG, sorry, I know I'm talking over you, but like even in the Og one, like I never even
Same.
bothered with
Same.
the other guns. I
In
was
the
like,
OG,
oh,
it's
what?
the
Why would I
only
use
thing I
that?
used for
Yeah.
sure. 100%.
My question for you is, what is a starting weapon you prefer over every other weapon that a game throws at you? Any other games you can think of where the starter is that's just the game. That's the gun.
Double pistols in Max Payne. I think you start with one pistol, but then you get another one really quickly. So just like the classic pistols in Max Payne is the go-to.
This is a bit of a stretch, but I just really love pistols in general in
Same.
Resident Evil, especially 4. I do switch to the Red 9 like later, but I fully upgrade the starter pistol before I change to another one. You know?
Nice.
Damiani?
I don't know. This question makes me glad for the glamour transmogrify system, because for visual appearance. Because, yeah, like obviously some of the most iconic weapons, I want to like keep using them, even though they're not the best. So like
Buster
Sword, or yeah, yeah, like the dude. No, I switched knives in RE4 as well.
Blades
like,
of Chaos.
once you get, like, that's a good one. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like something's just eluding me, but yeah, I feel like I'm generally like, no, move on to the next thing, even though it's like not the starting weapon, like the iconic thing you've seen, like all the key art and stuff.
Snake Eater, dude. CQC, the pistol knife
Oh.
combo.
Oh
Yeah.
hell yeah!
10 out of 10. Use that the whole game.
Yeah.
Never change.
Yeah, but you don't like upgrade those though, right? You can't upgrade.
True.
CQC That, right?
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, I feel like it's a game you have to be able to like switch out
Upgrade
or
and
change.
switch out. You're right.
You know the thing.
Fair.
Yeah, although you could use certain weapons in that game for sure. I mean, I guess you don't start with that. So if you like started with something else,
Yeah.
I mean, you start with that. So keep using that over anything else, then that would be, valid, I think, right?
I don't remember if you start with it, but I remember in Day of Defeat, I just used like the M1 Garand like the whole game.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was such a good rifle.
Ping.
Yeah. What reminded me was the trailer, the Death Stranding rope.
Oh hell yeah!
Just the rope.
The rope.
What are all these other weapons? I don't need them.
Doesn't even matter. All
Ooh,
rope
sock-
run.
Sock lever is good.
Yep.
Just gonna rope these guys up. real quick.
Fun question.
It's funny, like similar to this question, but like Warframe was making me think of this because I actually switch weapons pretty frequently. Like in Souls games, I always get to the weapon I like, and then I don't ever change it. Like I'm like, this is my weapon. I like this one. You know, like I try a bunch until I find it, but then never move again. But yeah, most games I do that. But Warframe, I switch all the time.
It's time for bets.
But yeah.
This week's bet, fun one. Helldivers 2 is out next Thursday.
Goaty.
We're going to drop in to the first mission that has enemies. No tutorial missions, first real mission with enemies on the hardest difficulty available. Solo if possible. I don't know if it's going to let you solo that game or not. But
Solo Sokoa.
if we can solo, we'll go in solo. We will run straight ahead, firing continuously. So either hold that button or just keep fanning the hammer. How long will we survive? Huber, the stealthy centipede.
I went with the high. I'm hoping we start in a cave or a base. I said 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I went high here, dude. I'm hoping the enemies are way away and we don't aggro them or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hoping. We run into a wall and we get caught. That was where my head was at.
Yeah. Damiani, the pompous Cocker Spaniel.
I went with 1 minute and 12 seconds.
112. Isla, the wet hummingbird.
I'm hoping the opposite of Huber. I hope they drop us out of a ship into a bunch of enemies and we just die immediately. I said 16 seconds.
16 seconds. I love it. Dawn, the fashionable manatee.
49 seconds.
Damn, I should have just added 2
49.
minutes.
Gabby, optimistic rat.
Gabby says 1 minute.
1 minute even. Ooh, we're all bunching up here. Because I, the effervescent hippopotamus, put 57 seconds.
Ooh.
Okay, I edged all them out.
So Huber and I have decent bets if it's really fast or really slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Last week's bet. Last week we talked about Power World's explosive launch, which is now at 19 million players, 12 million on Steam,
That is
7 million on Xbox.
crazy.
Xbox, a lot of those are Game Pass, but that's
That
a
is so
ton
crazy,
for
dude.
Steam. The biggest third-party launch ever on Game Pass.
What? Oh my god. Is this game still alive? I feel like it's already dead.
Nope.
Oh,
For
no,
the
it's-
bet, I asked where it
Okay,
would rank
yeah.
on Twitch this week, right before the podcast. Last week it was at third when I had checked.
Yeah.
Huber bet 5th place. Mitch for Isla bet 3rd place. Damiani bet 5th place. Isla bet 6th place. Don bet 4th place. Gabby bet 8th place. I bet 2nd place. The answer? It was in 5th.
Oh, right now it's in 6th.
Rocking it, dude. Let's go.
So that brings the scores to 3 for the Stealthy Centipede. And 2 for the Pompous Cocker Spaniel. Both got a point.
Dang it. 7th
Rest-
right now.
The rest of us are zeroed out.
It's 7th right now, yeah. So Gabby and I would have shared it. But it was beforehand. Why is this buzzing?
All right, let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. This podcast and our reviews and all the little things that we do here and there, the streams, it all happens because people like yourself pitch in and help us out. So if you think that this podcast, these 4 episodes you get every month are worth $5 a month, please jump in there and do that because that is how all of this keeps running. We have different rewards, different reward levels. At that $5 level, you get this podcast 2 days early. You get it ad-free. You get bonus Love and Respect questions. You get to submit to Love and Respect. You get to submit to the wrong question. I skipped that this week because it was a crazy week. But you know, sometimes we'll skip it, sometimes we'll have it. But I keep track. Some of the ones I like, I got a list over there. You also get in the Discord to vote on those top 10s that we talked about. So definitely check that out. At $10 is our contributor tier. You get to be in the community showcase and you get to vote on Stream Team every month. And then we got our producer tiers at $25 and up. And our platinum producers get a shout out on this podcast each and every week. This month's shout-outs go to Jabawabs, Elthanis, Greg, The Dark Knight Kettering, and Raymond Wheeler III. Shout out.
Shout out.
All right. If you have not seen it yet, our Game of the Year video is up. It is so fun. I love getting everyone's scripts together, going through that stuff, digging around, finding music, and then seeing what Isla comes up with.
Yep.
I love to troll in these.
Yeah, she does.
And sometimes I'm stunting on a game because the game I wanted to win won. And so I stunt on the one that didn't win. And sometimes the one I wanted to win did not win. And then I'm sad. But shout out to Sophia, my wife, for perfect mouse acting in the because I asked her, I was like, capture a line that's really sad for me, please. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really, really nice.
Also, yeah, putting in all the Avatar stuff for Dawn.
Yes,
was really
yes.
funny.
Had to give Don the nod there. Lots of Avatar in there. We also have Damiani's Persona 3 Reload review, which we mentioned. Anything else? Any of your streams or anything that you guys want to shout out? We checked out a couple of those, but
Yeah, nothing.
all right, Huber and Damiani, you got to decide. You get a shout out, anyone that's on your mind. You get the final word, and you get to sign off. So who's getting what?
Can I do the shout out, Damiani?
Sure.
Dude, I started watching Percy Jackson on Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah.
This show is amazing.
Okay.
This show's really good. Highly recommend. Flies by, brisk pace. Super good. I was not anticipating being so into it, and I'm like super invested in Percy Jackson.
Nice.
Yes.
Did not expect it. Damiani, final word?
All right. Never bet against Kojima. That guy just elevates this industry. He just makes things so fun and exciting. It's like you gotta have him. Like more like that. It's just so fun to have trailers dropped by Kojima or a new game announced by like we all like know when it's announced with like nothing PHYSINT, like it's nothing, but you know what's coming. You absolutely know what's coming down the line. You know it's gonna be like holy crap because it's just so fun, and I don't want to like. Please never lose that. It's amazing.
All right, and who's signing off?
Take us away, Damiani.
All right. Well, until next time, everybody. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
With a shadow campaign being added.
Okay, that's cool.